On my first day back at the wealthy mansion, I proved everyone wrong. Just a moment ago, my biological parents were claiming that since I grew up in the countryside, I would surely be unpresentable. So they were busy comforting the fake young master, who was secretly grieving, telling him I was only brought back for a marriage alliance. But the moment they laid eyes on me, their jaws dropped. This handsome, aloof young man with an outstanding temperament was truly their biological son. I stopped in front of the dining table. Looking down to survey the three people present, I spoke calmly. I am Jiang Heng. Father and Mother Wang finally snapped out of their daze. Mother Wang, who had just been insisting I would be rude and unpresentable, stood up awkwardly. Surprisingly, she seemed a bit nervous. Heng, you've been in the car all day. You must be tired. Sit, come sit. Uncle Feng, have the kitchen serve the dishes. Butler Feng responded immediately. I pulled out a chair opposite Mother Wang and Wang Teng and sat down with composure and natural ease, showing not a hint of constraint. After the only outsider left, the atmosphere became inexplicably awkward. It was Father Wang who coughed and addressed me. How was the journey here? Did everything go smoothly? I replied simply it was fine. Father Wang asked again, are your enrollment materials and everything ready? Yes. Hearing this, Father Wang frowned. I see you and Teng finished the college entrance exam last summer. So you are in the same year. Why didn't you continue your studies after high school? I had surprisingly gone a year without attending school. You have to realize, Wang Teng has already started his sophomore year. But after asking, he didn't need my answer. He had already figured it out. What else could it be? It must be poor grades. After all, I grew up in a mountain village. Graduating from high school was considered decent enough there. Father Wang said, to arrange for you to enter this university, I donated a building. It cost a fortune. If you can't keep up with the curriculum at school, you can ask Teng. Putting you in the same major was also to make it easier for you to look after each other. I gave a simple "oh." My lukewarm attitude annoyed Father Wang a little. He suspected I was deliberately embarrassing him, but seeing my expression remained normal, and my demeanor showed no sign of rebellion, he thought perhaps I was just naturally introverted and bad with words. After all, the Wang family didn't know me. Although my attitude was distant, I answered every question. They couldn't find any fault with me. The dishes prepared by the kitchen were served one by one. The dining table fell silent, except for me, eating leisurely. Everyone else was absent-minded. Mother Wang had looked down on me in every way before. But now, looking at the aloof young man opposite her, a strange sense of satisfaction rose in her heart. Heng, I haven't introduced you yet. This is Teng. Teng has a very good personality, and you are about the same age. You can go to him if you need anything. After speaking to me, she turned to Wang Teng. Teng, this is your brother Heng. From now on, we are all one family. Just call him brother. Wang Teng's gaze slid from my jet black hair to my straight upright shoulders and back, then paused on my casual yet elegant sitting posture, finally landing on that cold, noble face. His fingers resting on his leg tightly into his palms as he spoke slowly. Brother, is this the power of genes? I was clearly just a child who grew up in a mountain village. Yet I had not a hint of vulgarity. Every part of me was elegant. Every part of me was noble. My stance, my sitting posture, my body lines. I looked more like a young master than he, who had been trained since childhood. Sitting in this magnificent mansion, I showed not the slightest sign of discomfort, as if I had always lived in a wealthy environment. It turns out some people are truly born this way. I didn't know that I had merely walked a few steps normally and said a few sentences, and it made Wang Teng think so much. But I knew Wang Teng didn't genuinely welcome me, so I put down my chopsticks and said casually, we are the same age. No need to call me brother. Just call me Jiang Heng. Hearing this, Father Wang frowned. You still have the surname Zhang. Tomorrow, you'll have someone take you to change your name. I rejected him directly. The surname Zhang is fine. No need to change it. What's the point of changing it? Mother Wang immediately disagreed upon hearing this. You have returned to the Wang family now. You are the young master of the Wang family. How can you keep the surname Zhang? But I just said indifferently, I have no destiny with the Wang surname. These words made the faces of the other three change. Wang Teng and I were switched at birth. They heard I lived with an old man named Jiang. With no parents, now that I said I had no destiny with the Wang surname, wasn't I blaming Father and Mother Wang for their inaction all these years? Wang Teng said aggrievedly, brother, do you mean to say that this is all my fault? I raised my eyebrows in surprise. Why would you think that? I truly have no destiny with the Wang family. Not because of the switched birth, but because of the Wang family's fate and my own destiny. A mere Wang Teng couldn't influence something that significant. So I answered truthfully, you're overthinking it. You aren't qualified enough. However, Wang Teng looked as if he had been insulted. His eyes turned red. Brother, I know you don't like me, but how can you say that about me? Hearing this, I was stunned. What did I say? I was telling the truth. I looked Wang Teng up and down and confirmed again. Your forehead is flat and broad, a sign of early wealth, born in late autumn. It is a foundation doomed to a sudden end. And your eyebrows are hooked? Wealth will be hard to maintain for long. If you hadn't been raised in a place belonging to the water element, Your luck probably wouldn't have lasted until now. I shook my head and said, your own luck is already this weak. How could you possibly affect me? Wang Teng didn't understand this string of metaphysical terminology, but he understood when I said his wealth wouldn't last long. He immediately looked at Father Wang. Father, listen to what brother is saying. What wealth do I have? Isn't it all given by the family? If brother says my wealth won't last, isn't he saying our Wang family's wealth won't last? Hearing this, Father Wang looked at me with displeasure. Don't play these tricks. He knew, of course, that fortune tellers existed in this world, but those people were invariably men in their 50s or 60s. How old was I? I had just turned of age. What could I possibly know? Mother Wang believed in the supernatural even less. In her eyes, I had just learned some nonsense somewhere, and was saying it deliberately to disgust people. Thinking of it this way, the satisfaction Mother Wang had just felt regarding my appearance and temperament dropped back down. I leaned back against the cushion, arms crossed over my chest. For a moment I found it quite laughable. Back then, so many people begged me for fortune-telling and calligraphy, and never even got the chance to see my face. Now, out of the kindness of my heart, I gave them so much information for free, and they actually didn't appreciate it. I remembered when I was with Old Man Zhang in the Southwest. Old Man Zhang once told me that worldly people are foolish. They only love to hear words that benefit them, and hate hearing words with bad omens. That is why there is the saying, honest advice sounds harsh to the ear. I was very arrogant at the time, saying that with my skills, people would have to listen to whatever I said. Old Man Zhang smiled and shook his head, saying, you haven't entered the world, so you don't know the human heart. Looking at it now, Old Man Zhang really did have the experience. I have a personality that doesn't like to force things. Since they didn't believe what I said, then forget it. I wouldn't waste my breath. In full, take your time eating. I put down my chopsticks, drank a sip of warm water, and asked, you don't mind if I leave first, do you? Mother Wang nodded. Then go back to your room and rest. Tomorrow, the driver, Little Li, will take you and Teng to school together. Understood. I called the butler and asked him to take me to my bedroom. The Wang Villa's main building has 6 floors, counting the basement, including the bedrooms. Father and Mother Wang live on the 3rd floor. But the room the butler arranged for me was on the 5th floor. I stood in front of the bright, clean window in the bedroom. Looking down, I could take in the entire view of the garden outside the window. The moonlight fell on me like gauze, making my profile look even more distant and mysterious. The butler paused, muttering in his heart, feeling that this newly returned young master seemed unfathomable. But that shouldn't be. Isn't he only 19 years old? Thinking this, the butler asked, young master, are you satisfied with this room? If not, I can change it for you. It's acceptable. It'll just stay here temporarily. The butler wondered to himself, what did temporarily mean? But he didn't say much. After I said I had no other needs, he withdrew. After he left, I was the only one left in the room. I looked up at the bright moon hanging high outside. My fingers moved quickly, making a strange gesture. If someone who understood metaphysics saw it, they would recognize at a glance that this was finger divination. Ever since I came to this world, I would calculate it once every day. However, the result was the same every day. Today, there was still no change. I lowered my hand and sighed silently. Early the next morning, after the butler checked the progress of breakfast in the kitchen, he wanted to go upstairs to wake me. The butler and the others have a fixed wake-up time on workdays. But after all, it was my first day here. The butler worried that if he didn't remind me, I might easily oversleep. As a result, before the butler could step into the elevator, he saw me walking in from outside with brisk steps. The butler was surprised and said, when did the young master go out? I got up very early and didn't notice you leaving. I thought for a moment. I didn't pay attention to the time. It was probably just as the sky was turning light. That would be around 5 o'clock. The butler had also just gotten up then. He thought maybe he just hadn't noticed. He felt it was slightly odd, but didn't look into it further. He had no idea I didn't go out through the front door at all. Instead, I jumped directly from the 5th floor into the garden and flipped out over the high wall on the garden side. I found this villa too complicated. You have to take an elevator to go up and down. There is access control to go out. I felt it was more convenient to move on my own. If I hadn't noticed on my return that the gardener was trimming the bushes in the garden, I would have wanted to flip directly back in. I returned to my room, took a shower and changed clothes, then organized the ID documents I needed to take to school today. When I went downstairs, Father Wang, Mother Wang, and Wang Teng were already sitting at the table in the small dining room. I greeted them politely and casually chose a seat to sit down. While eating breakfast, Father Wang said to me, your mother and I wanted to see you and Teng off personally, but there's a very important meeting at the company today, and your mother has to go with me. Wang Teng has been enrolled for over a year and is familiar with the school. Let him accompany you. I swallowed my soy milk, put down the glass, and answered, okay, I understand. Father Wang added, you haven't studied for over a year. You will definitely struggle to keep up with the curriculum. Even though I paid a lot, if your academic performance is too poor, it definitely won't do. If you really can't keep up, Just come back and tell us. We will arrange a tutor for you. Hearing this, I found it too funny. This was already the second time Father Wang had said it, thinking I wouldn't be able to keep up with university courses. Although Father and Mother Wang put on the attitude of benevolent parents, obviously they hadn't genuinely tried to understand me. If they had carefully checked my grades from childhood to adulthood, as well as the competitions I participated in 2 years ago, they would absolutely never say such things. However, I didn't refute anything. I nodded, acting as if I listened to whatever the elders said. Only when Father Wang finished speaking did I pick up my chopsticks again to continue eating. Father Wang didn't notice these details. Wang Teng was thinking about the fact that I was going to school with him today. He was absent-minded and didn't notice either. Only Mother Wang looked at me with a complicated gaze. After we finished breakfast and the driver drove us away, Mother Wang finally hesitated and said to Father Wang, "Don't you think he is very—" Father Wang was puzzled. "He is very what?" "Very handsome. After all, he is our biological son. In terms of appearance, he surpasses his origins. In this aspect, Teng is inferior to him." "No," Mother Wang shot him a glance. "I'm not talking about appearance. I'm talking about his conversation and temperament. Don't you think something is amiss?" Father Wang misunderstood her meaning and laughed. "What's amiss?" Before he came back, I was worried he would lack manners. Now it seems he actually has quite a lot. Halfway through, Father Wang stopped. He met Mother Wang's eyes and suddenly realized, is it that he behaved too well? So well that you can hardly find a single fault. Seeing he finally reacted, Mother Wang sighed. "Just now, while eating, none of you noticed, his dining etiquette is even more elegant than our family's. When you spoke to him, he swallowed the food in his mouth and put down his cutlery before responding. When you stopped talking to him, only then did he resume eating." Father Wang recalled it, and it seemed to be true. Mother Wang said, "When our family eats, we don't even have such strict rules. And think about the way he holds his chopsticks. His posture, while sitting in the chair, caught the way he walks and talks." Father Wang fell into deep thought. "Now that you mention it, he really does give off a very different feeling. At first, I thought it was because he was too handsome. So everything he did was pleasing to the eye. Thinking about it carefully now, his bearing is indeed superb." Mother Wang said hesitantly, "I originally thought that since he grew up outside, he would surely be just a wild child, lacking in every aspect. But watching him speak and act, do you say letting him marry into the Xie family instead of Teng? Is it a bit of a pity?" Hearing this, Father Wang frowned tightly. "What kind of talk is that? How is it him replacing Teng? Teng isn't our biological son. The arranged marriage my father set when he was alive was for the Wang family's biological grandson. This engagement should have been Heng's all along. It was because of the switched babies that for over a decade, people misunderstood the engagement was Teng's. But Mother Wang thought of the Xie family's situation and the current condition of the third miss of the Xie family. If Heng marries her, it might end in divorce. And when he tries to remarry later, it will be difficult to find a good family. His conditions are so excellent. Isn't it a waste to use him on the Xie family? Indeed, although I am only just 19, I have already revealed the makings of a peerless, handsome man. Even now in my youth, I am already strikingly handsome. It is hard to imagine how astonishing I will look once I fully mature." Father Wang tapped the table, also feeling a bit reluctant. Such a son with excellent qualities, yet unable to be utilized for maximum value. But Teng cannot marry the third miss of the Xie family. Father Wang said in a low voice, "You know that Teng and Xie Ruyan have a mutual affection. Now that the third miss has fallen, and the Xie family has no one to support it, Xie Ruyan is the one with the most hope. It is rare that Teng managed to build a connection with Xie Ruyan so early." Mother Wang understood this reasoning and sighed with regret. If only the third miss were still in her previous condition. If our biological son could marry her, our Wang family would soar into the sky. But now she is on the verge of death. What use is there in marrying her? Father Wang patted her hand comfortingly. If she hadn't met with an accident, it wouldn't be our son's turn to marry her anyway. After all, the person in power of the #1 noble family is not someone we can easily climb up to. Besides, Heng's academic qualifications are really not good to look at. We even had to make a donation for him to attend university. Father Wang was still very dissatisfied with this point. Mother Wang nodded. "It seems we still have to focus our efforts on Teng. In the future, as long as Xie Ruyan marries Teng, we won't have to worry about the Wang family's future." Father Wang stroked her hair and smiled faintly. "You have worked hard on family matters, madam." Mother Wang gave him a light, playful punch. No need for formalities. At this moment, Wang Teng and I arrived at the school gate. As soon as we got out of the car, we received quite a few gazes. Several girls looked back at me as they walked forward. "Wow, is that person a student at our school?" "Probably. I've seen all the handsome guys in our school. I couldn't possibly have no impression of such a handsome boy. He is at least school hunk level." I was accustomed to the scrutiny and praise of others, so I didn't even blink. Wang Teng's face, however, did not look good. Usually he was the focus of the crowd. Now standing beside me, absolutely no one noticed him. Thinking of what he had said to his friends before, Wang Teng stopped in his tracks. He forced a smile at me. Aheng. I suddenly remembered. I have an appointment with a friend. Can you go to the academic affairs office to handle the registration yourself? My gaze swept across his brow. It doesn't matter. I can do it myself. But I need to remind you, your luck today doesn't seem very good. Hearing this, Wang Teng's smile stiffened. Subconsciously, he felt I was just running my mouth again. He walked forward indignantly, cursing silently in his heart. He really didn't know what was wrong with me. Talking about mystical nonsense all day long. Did I think saying things like that would scare people? Ridiculous. Wang Teng walked in a hurry. He didn't pay attention while going up the stairs. At the corner, someone holding a messy stack of test papers came head on. He crashed right into them. Seeing the papers about to smash into him, he hurriedly stepped back, but his lower back slammed heavily against the stairs with a sharp pain. Ouch. Watch where you're walking. The person opposite glared at him, scrambling to pick up the papers. Professor Zhang needs these urgently. Wang Teng, having been hit, was also very unhappy. Just as he was about to speak, he saw that the person opposite was the school's famous rebellious rich girl. Knowing her family background was good, he swallowed his anger. I'm sorry, I was walking in a hurry. Next time, remember to bring your eyes when you go out. The person rolled her eyes at him and ran off holding the papers. Wang Teng returned to his class clutching his lower back. Seeing that the few people he hung out with hadn't arrived yet, he breathed a sigh of relief. Before I returned to the Wang family, he used to cry to his friends, saying he was worried that when the Wang family's biological son returned, he would be gossiped about by others. His friends all said it was impossible. Mi Ping even laughed at him for worrying needlessly. Ah Teng, you just think too much. What era is this? What do blood ties count for? So what if he is the real young master? Can he be as handsome as you? Can he have your connections in the circle? Don't scare yourself. Even if he returns to the Wang family, he can only be a young master in name only. You are the wealthy young master in everyone's eyes. Before seeing me, Wang Teng thought so too. However, after seeing me, he discovered with panic that I was impeccable from appearance to attitude, surpassing him in every way. If the two of us walked together, others would definitely feel that I was the young master raised in luxury since childhood. The fake young master told his friends that I would come to school to register today. At that time, they said they wanted to meet me in person. To embarrass me, on the surface, he acted troubled, but inside he was happy. But now, he didn't want his friends to meet me at all, although everyone would see eventually, and would know. He hoped this time would come a little later. Unfortunately, just as I said, Wang Teng's luck today was truly bad. When I walked to the teaching building, I was suddenly stopped by someone. Hello, classmate. Excuse me. I looked back and caught someone off guard, crashing into a pair of stunning spring water eyes. May I ask how to get to the academic affairs office? Mi Ping stood frozen in place, her mind completely blank. I saw her staring at me without speaking, which was a bit strange. Classmate? Mi Ping only reacted after I called her several times. Her face turning completely red, she hurriedly moved her gaze away from my face. Sorry, I zoned out just now. What did you ask? It was too awkward. She, a girl, actually stared at a boy until she was stupefied. What kind of social suicide scene was this? I repeated the question. Hello. I wanted to ask how to get to the academic affairs office. Mi Ping pointed the way for me. That white building in front is it, on the 3rd floor. Turn right out of the elevator. There's a sign on the door. Okay, thank you. After thanking her, I wanted to leave. But Mi Ping suddenly asked, which school are you a student of? Logically speaking, this person's looks should be very famous. I said I just came to register today. Mi Ping knew that some freshmen could register a little later. Her eyes lit up and she extended her hand to me. Then I am your senior sister. Meeting on the first day of registration is also quite meant to be. I am Mi Ping, a sophomore in the finance department. Our classroom is in 506. You can come find me to hang out when you have time later. I smiled and shook her hand. Hello, I am Jiang Heng. Thank you for being so warm. Meeting is fate. It'll give you a free fortune reading. Remind your brother to avoid bridges when he goes out tomorrow. Mi Ping was stunned for a moment. What? Why mention my brother suddenly? Wait. How did you know I have a brother? But before she could ask, I had already waved my hand and walked far away. Mi Ping returned to the classroom full of doubts. She saw a few people gathered around Wang Teng talking, so she put down her things and sat over to listen. They were discussing Wang Teng's brother who had just been brought home. Why let him be the eldest young master? Someone questioned that based on the principle of first come, first served. Wang Teng should be the eldest young master. Others echoed saying, he has only been back in the Wang family for one day. Are the parents starting to show favoritism already? Even making Wang Teng call him brother. Wang Teng lowered his head and explained in a small voice, that's not it. Parents just want to make it up to him. Actually, he knew. The reason father and mother Wang made him the eldest in name was so he could marry the 3rd miss of the Xie family next year. But of course he couldn't say that. The others listened, and indeed felt it was unfair for him, saying that today they let him take the seniority. Tomorrow would they ask for the family fortune to be yielded to. Someone advised Wang Teng to be more careful. although that guy is the Wang family's real son. The one who stayed in the Wang family for over 10 years is Wang Teng. If one really had to weigh it up, the two of them were equal. Wang Teng, you can't let him surpass you. Someone scoffed and said, don't be funny. How can a wild kid compare to Wang Teng? I'm afraid he's the type who doesn't even know steak doneness levels, or simply knows nothing at all. Another girl with twin ponytails asked Wang Teng, did you see the person yesterday? Is he especially ugly? Living in the mountains, does he have those rosy plateau cheeks? Is he the type who is big and burly, covered in muscles, and also an academic failure? Going to university even required the Wang family to donate a building. We are all sophomores, and he is still a freshman. Wang Teng twitched the corner of his mouth and mumbled vaguely. I saw him. No, don't say that about him. Everyone thought he was tacitly agreeing, just being a bit too soft-hearted, and immediately laughed quietly. Hearing this, Mi Ping frowned straight away and said, why have you guys drifted so far off topic? Didn't you say we would go see that person today? Why are we still here? Mi Ping had the best family background in their group, so the rest of them fawned over her. Hearing her say this, someone responded, let's go. Class hasn't started yet. Let's go take a look. Don't be like this. It feels like we are going to bully someone. He is my brother after all. What kind of brother is he? Someone grabbed Wang Teng's arm and said, let's go. Tell us which major and class he is in. We'll just go take a look. We won't really bully him. The girls giggled. We'll just talk about banquets in front of him. Chat about clothes, talk about cars and such. We won't do anything else. Ping Ping, that 6 million watch your brother gave you before. Did you wear it? Let that poor boy broaden his horizons. Ha ha! Wang Teng was actually tempted by what they said. No matter how handsome I was, or how good my temperament was, so what? Had I ever seen luxury cars, worn designer brands, carried luxury goods, worn brand name watches, when I found out the price of these things? I would definitely be shocked. However, thinking of my face, Wang Teng finally decided to let it go. Right now, everyone thought I must be ugly. If they saw me, they might find me stunning. Wang Teng knew deeply the importance of looks, especially in reality, when the other party's appearance far exceeds ordinary people. The public will definitely be more tolerant of him. Better to give it a few days. Let him lay some groundwork to create an impression in others that I am handsome, but a straw bag. By that time, people wouldn't think much of it when they saw me. Wang Teng pointed to the clock at the front of the classroom. Feigning helplessness, he said. Class is about to start immediately. The first class today is calculus. It's Professor Ma's class. Are you sure you want to go out? Their calculus teacher was the famous failed grade king of the school. The group hesitated for a moment, and sure enough, decided to temporarily give up on finding the person. Finish this class first. I successfully completed the formalities. After collecting various books, clothes, school badge, and meal card, I was personally led into the classroom by the counselor. When I appeared in the classroom, the noisy room fell silent almost instantly. The gazes of dozens of people turned to me in unison. A girl in the back row let out an exaggerated wow. I was amused and smiled faintly. A wave of laughter rang out in the class again. The counselor said helplessly, class is starting. What are you doing instead of reading your books? What is the first class? Someone answered, Western economics. The counselor looked at the corridor. The economics teacher hadn't arrived yet, so he cleared his throat. All right, before class starts, let me introduce a student who registered a bit late. Zhang Heng. He then said to me, go up and introduce yourself. I wrote my name on the blackboard, scanned the classroom, and my gaze paused on a boy in the third row from the back. I quickly withdrew it. Hello everyone, I am Jiang Heng. The applause below was enthusiastic. Welcome new student. The counselor was a literature teacher, and was looking appreciatively at the name I wrote on the blackboard, saying that this young man's strokes were light and rounded, seemingly upright, but the turning and finishing strokes showed excellent running script style. If he wrote calligraphy seriously, his bearing would definitely be extraordinary, full of spirit and expression. He was lost in thought. I looked at him for a while after I finished speaking. He woke up with a start. You're just saying that one sentence. I smiled and said, saying more isn't as good as getting along slowly. Over time, everyone will naturally understand each other. The counselor checked the time and said, all right then, you can choose any seat to sit in first. The first period is Western economics. The teacher will be here soon. If you have any questions, you can come to my office anytime. Hearing this, I thanked him politely. Thank you, teacher. I understand. Before leaving, the counselor looked back at the characters on the board again, praising that my handwriting was quite good. Next time the school has an activity or competition, you must participate, okay? I smiled and nodded to show I understood. As soon as the counselor left, the classroom was like a drop of water falling into a pan of hot oil, instantly boiling over with noise. University classrooms are very spacious, and there were many empty seats, but I walked unhesitatingly towards the back, to the third row, and tapped on the desk. Hello, classmate. Is there anyone here? Yun was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect this handsome guy to head straight for him. There was no one next to him. He was sitting in the window seat himself. Subconsciously thinking I wanted his seat, he hurriedly stood up. Do you want to be next to the window? I can move. I pressed on his shoulder, easily pushing him back down. No need. He'll just sit next to you. As soon as I entered the classroom, I noticed this boy. There were actually wisps of blackish purple aura on him. This purple aura is quite rare. The purple aura around Nian was not drifting out from his own body, but looked more like he had been around someone for a long time. Accidentally contaminated. Among the people I've met in my past and present lives, those possessing purple aura are few, and those whose purple aura is intense enough to contaminate others are even fewer, countable on one hand. Moreover, this purple aura isn't pure. Presumably that person must be in a very difficult situation right now. I looked thoughtful, sized up Niyu, and asked softly, "Is someone in your family suffering from a disaster?" Niyu's eyes widened, and he blurted out, "What did you say?" He was extremely shocked inside. This exceptionally handsome boy, upon meeting him for the first time, actually asked if someone in his family was suffering from a disaster. Could it be that his relationship with his cousin had been exposed? Impossible. He had hidden it well for several years. How could even a newcomer suddenly know about it? Niyu hurriedly searched the campus for him, confirming that no one was talking about him. He breathed a long sigh of relief. Only then did he deny it to me. "No, nothing like that." After a pause, he asked again, "Where did you hear that? Did you mistake me for someone else?" I glanced at him sideways and said airily, "Lying in front of me is useless." I fluently recited Niyu's early life. "You were born into wealth. Your parents have a good relationship, and you had a brother who died young. You were physically weak as a child and fell into water when you were 6. That was a calamity in your fate. Although you got through it, you still couldn't be considered healthy. At the age of 9, you should have moved, changed cities, and met a benefactor. Only then did your destiny change. This benefactor you met should be related to you by blood." Niyu listened dumbfounded. Seeing that I was about to reveal everything, he quickly begged for mercy. "Ancestor, please stop talking. If you say any more, my family background will be exposed by you." I stopped talking, as he wished, and didn't continue. I said with a faint smile, "Don't lie in front of me. You are transparent to me." Niyu leaned a little closer to me and whispered, "How do you know all this? Is your family some kind of secret agent or intelligence organization, the kind that can investigate people easily?" I said calmly, "No, I don't need to investigate. I know how to calculate destiny." Niyu said blankly, "What do you mean by calculating destiny?" I pondered for a moment. "In your words, it should be called metaphysics." Niyu stammered in disbelief. "Metaphysics? Aren't all metaphysical masters white-haired old men? Are you already several hundred years old?" I didn't bother to argue with him. Who said metaphysical masters must be old? Every industry and every school has geniuses. One day of their work is worth decades of others. Haven't you ever seen such people? Niyu said he really has seen geniuses, but he has seen mathematical geniuses, physics geniuses, and even business geniuses, but he has never seen a metaphysical genius. However, seeing that I didn't look like I was lying, and that I had just accurately stated almost everything about his childhood, he asked, "Do you mean to say that you are the kind of person whose one day of progress equals decades for others?" He thought I would admit it immediately. Unexpectedly, I laughed, raised a finger, shook it, and said, "No, I am the kind whose one day of work is worth hundreds of years for others." Hearing this, Niyu was a bit skeptical. He felt that this metaphysical master seemed not very reliable. When Niyu wanted to ask more, the Western economics teacher had already arrived, so he had to open his textbook and start the class. But as soon as he thought about what I had just said, he felt restless. Actually, he didn't really believe in metaphysics, because ever since his cousin had the accident, and the hospital said there was no way, his cousin's family had also invited many so-called masters. Some of those masters claimed to be highly accomplished monks. Some said they were disciples of some immortal in the human world, and others pulled out various association certifications as soon as they entered the door. They set up altars to sacrifice to heaven, invited gods and worshipped Buddha, burning bundles of incense, and burning stacks of paper charms. But in the end, none of them could solve his cousin's condition. If at the beginning, he still had hope for these mysterious methods, then now his hope had long been worn away. But Niyu looked at the teacher standing on the podium explaining the content, and stole a glance at me out of the corner of his eye. No one had ever been like me, able to say so many things just by meeting face to face. Although I looked overly young and overly handsome, he had to admit that when I spoke, I gave people a strong sense of conviction. Niyu hesitated for a while, took out his phone, opened the QR code page of a social platform, quietly passed it to me under the table and asked softly, "Can we add each other as friends and chat online?" After I sent the friend request, Niyu approved it instantly. He sent an emoji as an opening and typed to ask me, "You just asked if someone in my family was in trouble. Did you calculate that?" "Yes." "Then can you calculate which person in my family it is?" Out of the corner of his eye, he saw my fingers pause. A moment later, Niyu received the answer. "Within the 5 degrees of kinship. A cousin. Judging from your face, it should be a female cousin, either older or younger." Niyu was stunned and quickly asked me, "Since you know she is in trouble, Then do you know how to solve it? I replied, I need to see the person. Hearing this, Niu hesitated for a long while before replying. I can't decide this matter. I need to ask the elders in my family. I didn't reply to him. Niu thought for a moment and sent me another message. You were a little wrong just now. I have never heard that I had a brother. This time I replied very quickly. I am never wrong. Go back and ask your parents. This mess master was a bit too arrogant. He actually wouldn't admit he was wrong even like this. Could he, an outsider, know better than me, their own son? Niu was provoked into feeling a bit unconvinced. He switched to the chat page with his mother. Mom, did I have a brother who died young? Is it true? He wanted to take a screenshot and send it to me as soon as his mother replied, to prove my mistake. As a result, he waited for a long time, until his mother replied with a sentence. How did you know? Seeing this, Niu almost jumped up. He sucked in a breath of cold air, choked, and started coughing violently. The teacher lecturing on the stage looked over with concern. Student, are you okay? If you are sick, you can ask for leave to go to the infirmary. Niu hurriedly waved his hand and said, I'm fine, just a little cold. Sorry for disturbing the teacher's class. Once the teacher looked away, he told his mother, a metaphysical master said it. I didn't believe it at first. The top of the chat page showed the other party was typing. Niu was a little nervous, worried his mother would think he was talking nonsense. Call me back when you are free. Niu saw this, and knew his mother had something important to tell him. As soon as class was over, he rushed out, ran to a quiet place, and made the call. As soon as the call connected, Mother Ni asked directly, what did the master say? Niu repeated exactly what I had said to him. He asked me as soon as we met if someone in my family was in trouble. After I denied it, he said I was lying. Then he revealed things about my childhood. He said I was in poor health as a child. I know about falling into the water at age 6. At age 9, Dad changed jobs, and we moved from Huizhou back to Dijing. It's also a fact that my health improved after that. But he said I had a brother who died young. Mother Ni sighed. It's true. No one knows about this except your father and me. I didn't expect someone could actually see it. Niu wanted to ask how that child was lost, but hearing the melancholy in Mother Ni's voice, thinking she still hadn't let it go, he sensibly didn't ask more. Instead, he actively changed the subject. Before, you and Dad always told me that I changed cities and became healthy after changing the environment. If we go by what he said, it was actually because I met a benefactor. Then is this benefactor referring to my cousin? Mom, I think he seems quite capable. How about letting him go see my cousin? Mother Ni looked troubled. You know, your cousin isn't someone just anyone can go see. How about this? You'll ask your grandfather first. If he says okay, you can invite him over this weekend. The grandfather Mother Ni mentioned is the old master of the Xie family, Niyu's maternal grandfather. Niyu knew that since it concerned his cousin, the family would definitely be cautious, so he nodded. Okay, we'll talk about it then. When he returned to the classroom, duplicate line removed in translation for flow, kept count via blank or merge logic if needed. Here, just continuing narrative flow while respecting line count is tricky with direct duplicates. I will treat E1-3, trend Z44 as a continuous action to maintain line count integrity. When he returned to the classroom and sat back in his seat, I seemed to know what he had gone to do. I glanced at him and asked leisurely, confirmed? Who was wrong after all? Niu smiled embarrassedly. I was wrong. It's really because I never heard my mom mention it before. I said indifferently, I told you long ago, you are transparent to me. Hearing me say this again, Niu was a bit dazed. He looked at me with a strange gaze, hesitating to speak. I said, if you have something to ask, just ask. What are you doing acting like this? Niu coughed and said awkwardly, you said you see me as transparent. Does that mean you can see everything? I said decisively. Your past, future, marriage, 5 elements, and fortune are all visible to me at a glance. Then, Niu's voice dropped lower, and his face flushed slightly. Do you see me with clothes on or without clothes? Hearing this, I was speechless. Niu, I have the heavenly eye, not X-ray vision. I was both amused and annoyed by Niu's wild imagination. And annoyed? What is all this nonsense? What kind of rubbish do you think about all day? Niu smiled sheepishly. I just had a sudden whimsical thought. I don't know what possessed me just now to ask such a question. Thinking about it now, he was simply too ashamed to speak. Fortunately, I didn't really mean to hold it against him. At this time, the second period was about to start. Niu hurriedly looked for his textbook, pretending nothing had happened. After the second period ended, there was a relatively long break to facilitate students changing classrooms. Within the school, besides required major courses, there are school-level required courses and student electives. Among them, school-level required courses are generally arranged in the last 2 periods of the morning or afternoon. Niu wanted to ask what school-level required course I had chosen, but felt he had been foolish before, and was feeling embarrassed when he heard girls asking at the door, are there any newly registered freshmen in your class? A student in the front row who was packing books answered, yes, what's up? The 4 girls at the door whispered to each other. Found him, found him. He's in this class, a short-haired girl said. Call him out, we have business with him. Then someone at the door shouted, handsome guy who just registered today. Someone is looking for you. Niyu wondered, isn't it your first day here? Why would someone be looking for you? Do you know people at this school? I just smiled faintly and said, perhaps. I put down my things and walked out of the classroom. Who is looking for me? Then I saw the girl who asked for directions this morning. I looked at her and said, Mi Ping. Mi Ping was pleasantly surprised. You still remember my name? Seeing the two of them looking like they were about to catch up, someone next to them quickly interrupted. Wait, are you the new student who just registered today? I answered, yes. The four girls looked at me and whispered, did we find the wrong person? This doesn't look like him. Has too handsome in person, isn't he? I wonder whose family he belongs to. Ping Jie, do you know him? Although they had asked every class, and only this class had a newcomer, they were still suspicious. Could that poor boy have actually not come today? Wouldn't we know if we asked? They came without telling Wang Teng. They knew my name, but they all felt the person in front of them had astonishing looks and bearing. He couldn't possibly be that one from Wang Teng's family. The poor boy who came back from the mountains. The short-haired girl asked tentatively, do you know Wang Teng? Hearing this, I raised my eyebrows. If living in the same house currently counts as knowing, then I should know him. The four were stunned and froze for a moment. Understanding my meaning, they were shocked. You are that young Master Wang who was switched at birth. I said coolly, don't call me that. I don't like it. I am Jiang Heng. I said it at the Wang house yesterday. I have no destiny with the Wang family. Didn't Wang Teng tell you? Seeing my undisguised distance towards the Wang family, and my cold expression even when mentioning them, my whole person seemed so aloof that no one could get close. Several of them originally planned to show off their wealth in front of this returned young Master Wang, and make a few sarcastic remarks from a high horse. But they didn't expect to be awed by his temperament first, and then crushed by his attitude. For a moment they looked at each other, daring not speak. I asked lazily, is there anything else? If not, I'm going to change classrooms for class. The short-haired girl summoned up her courage and took a step forward. You said you have no destiny with the Wang family. Then why did you come back to the Wang family? This was also what the other three wanted to ask. Since I was so unhappy about the surname Wang, then why did I come back to the Wang family? A strange expression appeared on my face. You asked a good question. I stood at the door of the classroom. The autumn sunlight fell on me. My eyes looked very elusive. In that instant, the four girls felt that I was seemingly shrouded in a mysterious veil of light, and my gaze went through them, looking towards a grander, more unshakable existence. I seemed to laugh. Of course, it's because I have a reason I must return. However, I looked back at the rear of the classroom, smiling faintly at Niyu, who had been craning his neck to look over. I seem to have found a more suitable method now. At this moment, a girl with a face full of impatience walked out of the classroom, cracked her knuckles at Mi Ping and the other three. What are you doing blocking our classroom door? Looking for a fight. The way Mi Ping and the others surrounded me looked as if they were engaging in some kind of violent bullying activity with superior numbers. This girl was a well-known rebellious figure in the school. Her name was Miao Juju. It was said that she even beat up the instructor during military training. Although Mi Ping and her group were a grade above her, they didn't want to conflict with her, so they stepped back a bit. I kindly explained. They just came to ask me a few words on behalf of Wang Teng. Wang Teng, that sophomore in the student union. Miao Juju thought for a moment. He bumped into me this morning. So annoying. Why is he everywhere? He asked me what my relationship with him is. Do we have a grudge? Or did I steal his woman? I laughed. I wouldn't be interested in his woman. He and I have some history. Roughly speaking, the two of us were switched at birth, and I was just recently found and brought home. Hearing this, Miao Juju suddenly realized, so you are the real young master in the real and fake young master story that everyone in the circle is talking about. I asked curiously, am I that famous? Miao Juju said, extremely famous. It's like the civet cat for the crown prince of the wealthy world. It has driven the booming development of paternity testing businesses. In major private hospitals, it's just that the Wang family doesn't have a daughter. Otherwise, they would probably have turned you into the male protagonist of Autumn in My Heart. Let's go. Let's go. What's your next class? We can talk as we walk. She spoke very interestingly. I followed her towards the classroom. After taking 2 steps, I remembered something and looked back at Mi Ping. By the way, don't forget what I told you this morning. If it comes true, remember to pay more later. After speaking, I followed Miao Juju into the classroom. Ignoring the reactions of Mi Ping and the others, the 3 people beside Mi Ping were completely confused. Ping Jie, what did he tell you this morning? If not for my reminder, Mi Ping would have almost forgotten what I said in the morning. She said uncertainly, in the morning he told me to remind my brother to avoid bridges when going out tomorrow. He knows your brother? Why does this sound so mystical and spooky? Ping Jie, then do you want to tell your brother? Sigh. I feel like he is different from what we imagined. Xie Teng too. Why didn't he tell us? Causing us to run over here and lose face. Actually, their relationship with Wang Teng wasn't that good to any extent. They were just fair-weather friends. Coming to find me was half for Wang Teng and half because they were bored and wanted to watch the drama. They just felt they lost face in front of me and pushed all the blame onto Wang Teng. Mi Ping was crystal clear about everyone's thoughts and didn't participate in the discussion. She held her phone, thinking of my expression when I spoke just now, and finally sent a message to her brother Mi Yan. Brother, remember to avoid bridges when you go out tomorrow. Mi Yan must have been busy and only replied to her with a question mark near noon. Are you looking at some love horoscope again? The use of the word again was very expressive. It showed at a glance that he had often been pestered by Mi Ping before. Hearing this, Mi Ping flew into a rage out of humiliation, typing furiously on the keyboard. It's not that this time. It was said by an expert. At this moment, she didn't care if what I said was accurate or not. She wasn't fighting for the bread, but for her breath pride. She felt compelled to defend what she had said. He is a very mysterious expert. The expert knew it as soon as he calculated. Anyway, you have to listen to me this time. What he said wasn't wrong either. After all, I was a freshman, knowing no one. Wasn't that very mysterious? The Mi siblings were used to bickering daily. Mi Yan subconsciously replied to her. Does the expert know you usually love reading horoscopes and buying agate to change your luck? Mi Ping was so angry she almost cried. Why did he have to bring up her embarrassing past? Whoever wants this brother can have him. Take him away quickly. After the morning classes were over, Wang Teng, as usual, wanted to ask his friends to go out for lunch together. But his friends all had cold faces, saying they had something to do and would meet next time. It was obvious they were venting their dissatisfaction. Wang Teng stood there blankly, not understanding where he had gone wrong. At noon, people were coming and going. He didn't know which person, busy rushing to the cafeteria, flung a pen out from their arms. Wang Teng couldn't dodge in time, and a long black mark was drawn on his clothes. Hey, Wang Teng wanted to stop the person, but that person didn't notice at all, and ran far away in an instant. He was left alone, gritting his teeth in anger, so he just casually ate something. During afternoon classes, he was also depressed. When going home in the evening, the driver parked the car at the gate and waited, going off to smoke himself. Only when Wang Teng opened the door did he realize I was already sitting in the back row. After a whole day of classes, others would look more or less tired, but I was still strikingly handsome, as if not even a strand of hair was out of place. Seeing him get in the car, I glanced at him, said nothing, turned my head back, and continued playing with my phone. But Wang Teng was already in a bad mood today. He just felt that being looked at by me like that made him feel uncomfortable all over. Suddenly, his emotions exploded. He smashed his bag into the car. What do you mean by that? I looked at the branded school bag that rolled to my feet, and then looked at him calmly. What's wrong? What happened to you? Wang Teng pulled at his clothes with a gloomy face. Didn't you see the stain on me? Laugh if you want to. No need to mock me in your heart. Acting pretentious is disgusting. His throbbing lower back, his inexplicably cold friends, his clothes suddenly getting dirty. Thinking of the things that happened today, Wang Teng got angrier the more he spoke. He was so angry his fingertips were trembling. I know you've disliked me since you came home yesterday, thinking I occupied your position and stole your life. On the surface, you pretend not to care about anything, but in your heart, you actually hate me. Seeing him speaking more and more outrageously, I made a stopping gesture with my palm facing outward. None of the above is true. Don't take things for granted too much. My appearance of not caring at all only infuriated Wang Teng even more. Wang Teng retorted, if you don't care, why did you come back? Aren't you just coveting the Wang family's wealth? Wealth? Hearing this, there was some amusement in my tone. What wealth does the Wang family have? If I want this kind of thing, I can have as much as I want? I looked at Wang Teng. Clearly, my posture was plain and indifferent, yet inexplicably gave people a substantial pressure that could penetrate the heart. I naturally have my reasons for returning to the Wang family, but listening to you, it sounds like you who view the Wang family's wealth as dirt. Why do you, knowing clearly you are not the Wang family's son, still stay in the Wang family with peace of mind? Wang Teng stiffened, just as he wanted to argue that father and mother Wang couldn't bear to let him go. He heard me continue. I returned to the Wang family yesterday. The Wang family didn't even have the courtesy to welcome me at the door. Presumably someone held them back. This morning, 4 girls came to find me. Although they didn't gain any advantage from me, they came aggressively, harboring malicious intentions. Who were they instigated by? Wang Teng, you have too many petty tricks. I'm in a good mood right now, so I won't hold it against you. But I hope you know when to stop. I looked at him condescendingly. Otherwise, you won't want to know the consequences of offending me. Besides, I remember I seem to have reminded you this morning that your luck today isn't good. I withdrew my gaze, picked up my phone again, and said casually, young people shouldn't be ignorant of the immensity of heaven and earth. Next time, remember to listen to advice. Wang Teng felt cold all over. Only then did he remember when they were at the school gate in the morning. I indeed told him, your luck today doesn't seem very good. At that time, he thought I was just running my mouth. Now reminded by me, connecting it with the things that happened today, He couldn't help but feel a chill run through his body. The driver came back from smoking and saw Wang Teng standing foolishly outside the car, actually trembling slightly. He couldn't help wondering, eldest young master, the weather is cold, hurry and get in the car. Don't catch a cold. He almost called Wang Teng eldest young master like before, but just as the words came out, he realized the eldest young master had changed. He hurriedly corrected himself. He glanced at me sitting in the car, and finding I had no reaction, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He didn't know why, but this newly returned eldest young master gave off quite a strong pressure. As for Mother Ni's side, after hanging up Niyu's call, she rushed to the Xie family. Mother Ni's original name was Xie Ruyan. She was the youngest daughter of the Xie family. She had an older brother above her. Originally, the Xie family was controlled by her older brother. But a few years ago, her brother, sister-in-law, and second nephew unfortunately passed away in a plane crash. Her eldest nephew, Xie Chengshen, had joined the army long ago. The Xie family's assets could only be handed over to her third niece, Xie Ruyan, who was not yet of age at that time. Xie Ruyan was young, but she was a natural business wizard. In just half a year, she fully took over the Xie family's businesses, and in the following years, she made the Xie Corporation's businesses bigger and bigger. At first, others only called her third Miss Xie. In recent years, everyone called her third sister Xie. During that time, Xie Weili's husband would come home and sigh with emotion to her, saying that when handling affairs outside, when others learned he was third sister Xi's uncle-in-law, they gave him conveniences everywhere. They also said that with such a daughter in the Xie Corporation, the family would surely prosper, but perhaps heaven was jealous of heroic talents. Or maybe the Xie Corporation really had a year of bad luck. Last spring, Xie Ruyan suddenly fainted. Although she woke up quickly, her body grew weaker day by day. Experts and famous doctors from home and abroad treated her, but examinations couldn't find any specific problem. Xie Ruyan persisted until last autumn, when she became completely bedridden. After diagnosis, she was determined to be in a vegetative state. By this summer, doctors said her organs were severely failing, and she might not last a year. 1 year would be next summer, and now it was almost late autumn. Thinking of this, Xie Weili felt a pain in the bottom of her heart. Sometimes looking at Xie Ruyan on the sickbed, she couldn't help complaining about the unfairness of fate. The Xie family was charitable and benevolent. Ancestors accumulated virtue. The descendants of the Xie clan were all of upright character. Why did bad luck have to befall the Xie clan? After the Grim Reaper took away her beloved brother and sister-in-law, he still wouldn't let go of her youngest niece. Xie Weili felt uncomfortable in her heart. But before entering the house, she still tidied up her appearance in the mirror, afraid the old master would see it. The Xie family now relied entirely on old master Xie for support. He was already over 70 years old, yet he had to suffer the pain of losing his wife, son, and granddaughter in succession. She couldn't let him worry about her anymore. Dad and back, Xie Weili entered the living room and saw old master Xie sitting on the sofa, wearing glasses and looking through financial reports. Seeing his daughter, old master Xie, took off his glasses and rubbed his temples. Why did you come over on a workday today? Xie Weili looked at the maid beside them. The maid understood and went to make tea for them. Old master Xie wondered, do you have something important? Xie Weili recounted Niyu's experience. She hesitated and said, Xiao Yu said, that master saw at a glance that someone in his family was in trouble. But the master needs to see the person personally. I didn't dare to agree. What do you think, hearing this? Old master Xie shook his head and said, masters, haven't we invited enough of them? Which famous master in the Central Plains hasn't seen her? Unless it's an expert unknown to anyone, perhaps it is just fate. After all, they knew clearly, where would so many hidden experts come from in this world? Xie Weili thought old master Xie meant to refuse, but old master Xie sighed and added, however, I am still unwilling to give up. Since he can see Ruyan's situation at a glance, we might as well invite him to try, whether it works or not. Just prepare a heavy reward for the master. Looking at the wrinkles on old master Xi's face, Xie Weili's nose tingled with sadness. Xie Ruyan was the Xie family's granddaughter. Old master Xie loved her the most, and had the deepest affection for her. But after Ruyan's accident, others could collapse. Only old master Xie could not, because the Xie family still needed someone to hold it up. And for Xie Ruyan, someone still needed to constantly think of ways to try. No matter how many times there was despair, by today, even old master Xie dared not harbor any luck anymore. Xie Weili drank tea with old master Xie for a while longer, and talked for a bit before leaving the Xie house. When she was about to walk out of the Xie family courtyard, Xie Weili suddenly stopped in her tracks. She looked at the magpie on the osmanthus tree in front of the door. They say a magpie entering the house brings good omens. Then when can a miracle be born in the Xie family? Xie Weili sent a message to Niyu, asking Niyu to set a time with the master. Niyu asked me. I calculated the days and said this Friday night. After replying to his mother, Niyu asked curiously, is this kind of date also particular? I said, of course. Not only is the date particular, the time is also particular. Otherwise, why does the old almanac mark auspicious times for weddings and funerals? Niyu sighed with emotion. Then your school of thought is quite complicated. It's not complicated. We also have certain scientific laws to follow. Hearing this, Niyu shook his head. Hearing the most unscientific person talk about science was truly a novel experience. This day passed quickly. After finishing classes in the afternoon, I packed my bag and walked out of the school, thinking in my heart about that magical expression of Niyu's. Who on earth was it that would have blackish purple aura on their body? Zhang Heng. Mi Ping shouted my name. While running towards me, I turned around at the sound. Mi Ping stopped in front of me, panting. My gaze swept over her face. I decisively spread open a hand. Handed over, while calming her breathing, Mi Ping looked at me blankly. I said there would be a fee if the calculation was correct. Your brother's matter is resolved. You don't want to renege on the debt, do you? Mi Ping felt complicated inside. Do you have that much confidence in yourself? I never make mistakes. I smiled faintly. However, yesterday, I couldn't be sure you would listen to me. After all, you seem to have a good relationship with Wang Teng. That your brother could avoid disaster is also the result of your personal choice. Mi Ping subconsciously denied. I don't have a very good relationship with Wang Teng. Just friends in the same circle. I don't care about this. It doesn't matter to me. You just need to tell me. Was my calculation accurate? Accurate, Mi Ping admitted immediately. It turned out, Mi Ping's brother, Mi Yan, went out to visit a client today. When returning to the company in the afternoon, he had originally chosen a shortcut, which required passing over an elevated bridge. At that time, the car was already less than 100 meters from the bridge entrance. But Mi Yan, for some inexplicable reason, remembered that his sister had specifically emphasized to him yesterday to avoid bridges. Since he happened not to be in a rush, he had the driver turn around and take another route. Unexpectedly, just as the driver turned the car around, a loud boom was heard. They looked towards the sound and saw that bridge snap in the middle and collapse to the ground, becoming a pile of ruins. Mi Yan and the driver were dumbfounded. If they hadn't turned around just now, they would have been driving right next to the bridge at this moment. Although it might not have been fatal, injuries would have been unavoidable. The way the driver looked at Mi Yan changed. As if looking at an immortal, he asked Mi Yan, trembling, how did you know this bridge couldn't be crossed? Mi Yan also shook his head, trembling. I didn't know either. It was my sister who said yesterday she met a master and told me to avoid bridges today. Then as soon as I saw the bridge, I thought of this. The driver knew that Mi Yan had a sister. He said with awe, it seems Miss Mi has met a true expert. Fortunately, no one was passing by when the bridge collapsed, so there were no casualties. Mi Yan and the driver calmed down at the scene, then hurried back. Mi Yan told Mi Ping about this in the car and transferred a huge sum of money to her, asking her to invite the master to their home. If the master was unwilling, he wouldn't force it, but the payment must be delivered. Mi Ping found it incredible when she heard it, but she knew her own brother wouldn't joke about such things. She asked for my account number and transferred the money to me. Thinking of her brother's encounter, she still had lingering fears. Thank you very much anyway. My parents also really want to treat you to a meal. I wonder when it would be convenient for you. I thought for a moment, I have plans this week. Next week then? Next Friday night? I'll go with you. Mi Ping hurriedly agreed. After all the classes were over at noon, I told the driver that I was going to a classmate's house to hang out and would go back by myself later. Then I got into the Ni family's car. Niyu sat in the car, looking more nervous than I was. He was on pins and needles the whole way, fidgeting constantly. When we were almost at the hospital, a layer of sweat actually broke out on his forehead. He saw me playing with my phone there and couldn't help smiling bitterly. Aren't you worried at all? What if it's a situation you can't solve? I said calmly, it's not like this is the only thing I can't solve. What's there to worry about? Niyu was a bit surprised to hear this. Although he hadn't known me for long, the feeling I always gave him was that everything in the world was under control, as if I was omniscient and omnipotent. Sometimes when I spoke, it even carried a kind of matter-of-fact arrogance. Therefore, he secretly guessed that I must come from some unknown hidden expert lineage with powerful abilities. This was the first time he heard me say something that implied admitting defeat. So there are things you can't solve too. I chuckled lightly. What kind of talk is that? I'm not God. Even if one were God, there are things they are powerless to do. Like what? Niyu pursued. Like my return to the Wang family. Like my coming here with you today. Niyu asked abruptly. What does this have to do with the Wang family? Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed. I put away my phone. All right, we're here. I got out of the car first, standing at the entrance of this private hospital. Looking up above the hospital, the chaotic aura made me thoughtful. This is where your cousin is staying. Niyu led me inside. He had already told me part of Xie Ruyan's situation and his relationship with the Xie family. My grandfather and my mom are both in the hospital. My dad is away on business, so he didn't come today. They reached the special VIP floor via a dedicated elevator. Someone immediately came up with a detector Niu apologized to me. Sorry. Security check is a necessary procedure. Hearing this, I just shrugged. Understandable. After the two passed the inspection, under the gaze of bodyguards stationed every 3 steps, we walked into Xie Ruyan's ward. When the ward door opened, Old Master Xie and Xie Huili both stood up. Although Niu had already explained to them that I was his college classmate, and very young, he hadn't mentioned that I was this handsome. A flash of amazement passed through Xie Huili's eyes. She quickly stepped forward on behalf of her father to shake hands. Hello, Master. Thank you for making the trip today. Old Master Xie nodded to me without the slightest disdain. He greeted me very politely. Hello, Master. Please sit. Xiao Yu, pour a glass of water for the Master. No need for water. I'll leave after I take a look. My gaze swept over Old Master Xie and Xie Huili, and I withdrew it with satisfaction. Not bad. You are both people who have accumulated blessings. Old Master Xie felt that when I glanced over, it was as if I could see through people. A wisp of hope arose in his heart. He moved aside, revealing the person on the bed. Presumably Xiao Yu has also told the Master. This is my granddaughter, Xie Ruyan. I scrutinized this woman on the bed with closed eyes, seemingly lifeless. Even though the woman's cheeks were thin and her face bloodless, one could still see how excellent her bone structure and appearance were. Deep-set brows and eyes, a tall, delicate nose, thin and pale lips. Under the bright lights of the ward, there was a morbid beauty. However, what I looked at was not these. What I looked at was the purple aura surrounding the woman, so dense it was almost dripping water, and the thick black mist mixed within the purple aura. I reached out and grabbed, catching a ball of black mist to observe in my palm. I discovered an imperceptible white thread in the black mist, vaguely pointing into the distance. I was thoughtful. Old Master Xie and the other two saw me standing there without speaking for a long time, and making a strange gesture, so they were a bit anxious. Niu couldn't help asking, "Did you see anything?" My fingers tightened, crushing the ball of black mist in my palm. I looked at the Xie family members, pondered for a moment, and said, "There is good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear?" The Xie family members looked at each other. At a time like this, what good or bad news could there be? In Xie Ruyan's situation, as long as there was a sliver of hope, it could be considered good news. How much worse could the bad news be? Niu spoke first. Let's hear the good news first. I said lightly, your cousin, that is, Xie Ruyan. She didn't suddenly develop some medically difficult disease, but was plotted against. I can solve this. Give me a week to prepare, and I can wake her up. The Xie family was first startled, then overjoyed. Old Master Xie stood up abruptly, confirming, "Master, are these words true?" I said, "Naturally true." Xie Li wept with joy, hurriedly supporting her father. Great, great. Ruyan can be saved. For a moment, they ignored my mention of someone plotting against her. As long as Xie Ruyan could recover, everything else could be discussed later. Niu was also ecstatic. Mom, Grandpa, cousin can be saved. Old Master Xie was emotionally agitated, involuntarily revealing a smile, but he suddenly saw my calm face and remembered. I said there was also bad news. Their heated heads cooled down. Master, what is the bad news you mentioned? I was silent for a moment before saying, this time she was plotted against, so I can wake her up, but her own destiny is peculiar. I'm afraid she won't live past 30. The ward, which was just full of joy, instantly fell dead silent. At this moment Niu lost his voice. What do you mean my cousin won't live past 30? He asked urgently. What do you mean her destiny is peculiar? Is there no way to save her? I shook my head. I don't know if you've heard. When the sun reaches noon, it begins to set. When the moon becomes full, it begins to wane. Everything follows the rule that, when things reach their extreme, they must decline. Destiny is the same. Your cousin's destiny is too good. So good that she shouldn't appear in peaceful and prosperous times. Nor should she appear in your family. I stopped there. Everyone present was smart and understood my unfinished meaning. After speaking, I added, but I can help her extend her life for 2 more years. Even with 2 more years, she will only be 32. And Xie Ruyan was already 25 this year. Hearing this, Old Master Xie felt dizzy, couldn't help stepping back, and only stayed upright by supporting himself on the table. Xie Huili stood frozen in place, even forgetting to support him. Only now did they know. Why? I said there was one piece of good news and one piece of bad news. That Xie Ruyan could wake up was certainly good news, but that she was destined to die young, with only a few years left to live, was indeed truly bad news. Niu looked blankly at Xie Huili and Old Master Xie, not knowing whether it was better for his cousin to wake up now, or not to wake up. This kind of giving someone huge hope first, making them think there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but then instantly handing them a death notice, letting them see the abyss of hell, was truly too torturous. When Xie Ruyan wakes up, how should they tell Xie Ruyan? Tell her she only has a few years left to live. Only the chaotic breathing of a few people remained in the ward, revealing the messy state of mind of the 3 Xie family members. Finally, it was Old Master Xie who made the decision. No matter what happens in the future, we must save Ruyan first now. What if the master finds a new way later? This time when Ruyan was unconscious, they also thought they had reached a dead end. with no solution. Didn't they encounter me too? Worldly affairs are unpredictable. The road ahead is unknown. It isn't necessarily a dead end. Maybe after a few years, Xie Ruyan will have new opportunities. I gave a strange look at Xie Ruyan on the bed and said, indeed, maybe there will be new opportunities in the future. Who knows? I agreed with his statement. Old Master Xi's spirit lifted. Master, what do you need this time? Is there anything the Xie family can help with? I'll prepare it myself. Layman can't figure out many things and might mess it up instead. Next Saturday at noon, have Niyu pick me up at my house then. For some reason, after I said this, Old Master Xie and Xie Huili both froze. Old Master Xie looked at me carefully and said, is the Master Wang Jianguo's grandson? Hearing this, I nodded. Yes, but some accidents happened to me. I didn't grow up in the Wang family since childhood, and I haven't met him. What's wrong? Old Master Xie and Xie Huili exchanged a glance. Old Master Xie paused. This, Master, I wonder if you know that you and Ruyan have an arranged marriage. Hearing this, my eyelid twitched. Do you know about the Wang family's affairs? Didn't they say the Wang family's real and fake young master matter made a huge uproar, and everyone in the circle knows? Or is the Xie family more powerful and unclear about the rumors in the lower circles? Old Master Xie said, I have heard a little. I raised a question, saying, then can you still be sure that the one with the arranged marriage with your granddaughter is me? After all these years, Wang Teng has been taking my place. Old Master Xie leaned on his cane and smiled. When the engagement was set, your mother was just pregnant. Your grandparents brought her to my house to visit my wife. It happened that Ruyan was playing nearby. They said if your mother gave birth to a girl, she would become sworn sisters with Ruyan. If it was a boy, they would set a baby engagement with Ruyan. The baby engagement was set for the unborn child in your mother's womb at that time. Calculating it this way, it can only be you. Only then did I know the sequence of events. I glanced at the woman on the bed, thinking to myself, no wonder when I looked at her destiny just now, I felt a strange resonance. It turns out because there was already a cause and effect. It was getting late. I couldn't delay any longer. So I bid farewell to the Xie family. Old Master Xie wanted Niyu to send me back, but I refused. Let the driver send me. See you next Saturday? So the Xie family had to send me to the hospital entrance. After the car I was in drove away, Xie Huili sent her son home too, and asked Old Master Xie with some doubt, why did you mention the baby engagement just now? Although she was also a bit surprised to hear I turned out to be a Wang family member. Young people nowadays are quite resistant to this kind of elder arranged agreement. What if Zhang Heng hears it and is unhappy and unwilling to save Ruyan? Her father had been through ups and downs all his life. He shouldn't have failed to consider this factor. This night was mixed with joy and pain. After the great ups and downs of his mood, Old Master Xie was also a bit tired. He sighed and explained I was reminding him. Xie Huili didn't understand. Reminding him of what, ever since old Wang passed away, and his wife stopped asking about the Wang family's affairs. The Wang family has gradually shown signs of decline. These years, it's getting worse year by year. You also know old Wang's only son is a good-for-nothing fellow. Originally, they were old friends with the Wang family, although they had become distant in the last 10 years or so. After all, someone from the older generation was still alive. Old Master Xie also paid attention to his old friends. Then Old Master Xi continued. I even mentioned to Xie Ruyan once, if she meets Wang family members in the business world, help if she can. Unfortunately, under Father Wang's leadership, the Wang family is becoming more and more depressed. The Xi family wants to help but doesn't know where to start. Old Master Xi snorted coldly. Although switching the wrong child is indeed absurd, since they brought their biological son back, they should naturally care for him properly. But look at what that child was wearing and using just now. Was there anything valuable? When he mentioned the Wang family, he was indifferent, and he hasn't even changed his name back. Just think about it, and you'll know how the Wang family treats him. Hearing Old Master Xie say this, Xie Huili started to recall. However, upon recalling, she couldn't help but smile bitterly. Dad, I can't even remember clearly what he was wearing just now. I just remember that he is good-looking and has a good bearing. He looks noble and distinguished. He really doesn't look like he grew up in a small place. Old Master Xie said such words. Don't say that again in the future. What do you mean by doesn't look like he grew up in a small place? Can't a phoenix rise from a humble nest? Are all those from wealthy families necessarily talented? If we trace our Xie family back a few hundred years, we also came from humble peasant origins. Who is nobler than whom? Xie Huili lowered her head and admitted her mistake. It's because I've been influenced by the social circle these years. I will definitely keep it in mind in the future, and won't speak like this again. Old Master Xie glanced at her. Everyone outside says our Xie family is the #1 noble family. This #1 is not just about financial power, ability, and status. It must also be about the heritage and character within the family. Old Master Xie didn't say much more. The topic shifted, and he spoke about my matter again. The Wang family treats him badly. Bringing him back, I'm afraid they have other intentions. I heard that the child named Wang Teng in their family is very close to Xie Ruyan's daughter. Xie Ruyan is Old Master Xi's nephew, and also a branch of the Xi family. This year, he has been particularly active. Mentioning this, Xie Li was also quite angry. When Ruyan was in power before, these branches were all well behaved. Unlike now, when the tiger is away, the monkey claims to be king. She thought for a moment, and said, Diang's family does have an only daughter, Xishuan. I heard she has something with the Wang family's son. She still couldn't hold back, revealing a bit of a sneer. Look at these allies they chose. All of them are unpresentable things. Old Master Xi said, that's exactly it. The Wang family didn't know before that their biological son was lost outside. They thought there was only one child in the family, and it just so happened that this child was bound to Ruyan, who is about to die. They are unwilling to let their son marry Ruyan, but dare not offend the Xie family. They were probably worrying about it. It just happened that they learned there is another biological son. Doesn't this satisfy both sides? Hearing this, Xie Huili stood up in anger. Who does the Wang family think they are, daring to disdain Ruyan? Even if there really is something, it's their Wang family climbing up the social ladder. Then the master, Xie Huili, thought of the Wang family wanting their other son to marry into the branch family, while pushing the master to the main family. Old Master Shi's aged face still held sharpness. The Wang family is truly absurd. Our Xie family doesn't insist on confirming the marriage. If they don't want to have a connection with our Ruyan, they just have to say it directly. We wouldn't use a verbal agreement to force them. But they are unwilling to miss out on the Xi family, and want to hook up with the Diang family side, even exploiting their own biological son. Greedy people are never satisfied, like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. Once Ruyan's matter is resolved, it will be time to straighten out these restless people. Xie Huili knew her father was old in age but young at heart, and was very clear in handling matters, so she wasn't worried. She sighed with emotion. Actually, putting it this way, the master is quite destined with our family. He had an engagement with Ruyan before he was born, and now after twists and turns he has become Ruyan's savior. If in the future, forget it, these things are all fate, and cannot be forced. Moreover, she also knew that Xie Ruyan was quite averse to this kind of arranged marriage. After hearing about the engagement with the Wang family before, she had always been very unhappy, saying that when the Wang family's son came of age, she would personally go to cancel the baby engagement. If Xie Ruyan hadn't suddenly collapsed last year, then their engagement with the Wang family would have already been cancelled, and I myself possess metaphysical skills, so originally I had no interest in such things. It's a pity that this pair of talented man and beautiful woman are likely destined to meet but not be together. When I returned to the Wang family, Father and Mother Wang were surprisingly still sitting in the living room. Seeing me come back so late, Father Wang's face didn't look good. Driver Little Li said you went to a classmate's house to play. I gave a careless Father Wang asked, was it a male classmate or a female classmate? Didn't you just arrive in Dijing? You made good friends so quickly. I walked towards the stairs, while answering casually, a male classmate from the same class. I know you were used to having no rules before, but now that you've returned to the Wang family, you must abide by the Wang family's rules. I leaned on the staircase railing and looked back down at him. Lazuli, you said it yourself. I am just used to being like this. I won't change. I am not some young master, and I won't follow that set of rules for young masters. You must comply. Seeing my unresponsive attitude, Father Wang immediately raised his eyebrows. Stand up straight when an elder speaks to you. What kind of attitude is that? I felt a bit amused. I had heard people say before that some parents and elders would establish a set of rules they liked for their children, to mold the children into their ideal image. Once the child deviated from the direction, they would reprimand the child, and when they had nothing left to say and no reason left to argue, they would use their status as elders to suppress the child on a moral level, nitpicking the child's attitude. Wait, it seems Father Wang is this kind of person. His ideal son should be weak and controllable, right? Just like Wang Teng. I looked at Father Wang with interest. In this world currently, apart from the law, there seems to be nothing that must be obeyed. Although there is a blood relationship between us, there is no affection of kinship for each other. We are just meeting by chance in a brief life. I don't think I need to follow the Wang family's rules. Father Wang was choked with anger. Mother Wang quickly poured him a cup of tea. Why are you so angry? Aren't you afraid of harming your body with anger? Have a drink of water quickly. She turned to look at me and said displeasedly, Aheng, apologize to your father. How can you speak like that? Teng has never spoken to mom and dad like this since childhood. Father Wang said with a gloomy face. No need. I see our Wang family can't control him. It just so happens you still have an engagement. Father Wang said to me, to prevent you from doing something scandalous in the future and losing our Wang family's face, it's better to arrange your engagement early. Mother Wang's expression softened, and she also said, this engagement was set when you were still in my belly. Now that you are an adult, even if you don't get married, you can get engaged first. The other family has a very high status, much stronger than our family. Calculating it, it is the Wang family climbing up, You don't need to worry about being wronged. Father Wang flipped through the desk calendar, half truthfully. Tomorrow, I will go visit the Xie family to finalize the engagement early and let you settle down, Mother Wang said softly. Isn't this too fast? Our son has only been back for a few days, and we haven't cared for him properly yet. What's fast about it? Father Wang said disapprovingly, glancing at me. Father Wang said sarcastically, I spent a huge sum of unjust money and racked my brains to find a university for him. Letting him study. He is doing well, going out to play with classmates late at night, and talking back after just a few sentences when he returns. If he stays at home longer, who knows what he might do. The two of them, one playing the bad cop, one playing the good cop. In the blink of an eye, they were about to finalize the matter. I watched the whole process and couldn't help finding it laughable. If I still couldn't see why Father and Mother Wang were putting on this big show, then I would have lived 2 lives in vain. Recalling that pale and beautiful woman I saw in the hospital tonight, I thought with some amusement, the head of the Xie Corporation is actually being disdained by a pair of ordinary wealthy couples. It's quite interesting. With the Xie Corporation's status, even if Xie Ruyan dies, there are plenty of people wanting to marry her memorial tablet. Father and Mother Wang didn't leave this good opportunity to climb up for Wang Teng, but gave it to me instead. There must be something fishy. What could be the reason? I thought of the peach blossom luck romance, faintly revealed between Wang Teng's brows, connecting it to when Ni Yu chatted with him about destiny, and complained about a branch of the Xie family being particularly restless. I immediately guessed most of it. The Wang family had calculated perfectly, thinking Xie Ruyan would undoubtedly die, and the branch family had hope of taking power. They wanted Wang Teng to marry her, the branch daughter, but worried in case the main family still had a backup plan. They simply decided to fulfill the baby engagement between me and Xie Ruyan. In this way, no matter whose hands the Xie family fell into, they wouldn't lose. It was just a difference of which one earned more. Only looking at their appearance. They mostly treated me as an expendable piece. A hint of a sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. I interrupted Father and Mother Wang's dialogue. I know, discuss it amongst yourselves and then tell me. The living room fell silent. Father and Mother Wang looked at each other. They didn't expect that I wouldn't even ask about the engagement, and tacitly allowed their manipulation. They had originally prepared various ways to deal with me, but now it seemed none were needed. If there is nothing else, you'll go up first. I walked to the middle of the stairs and suddenly turned my head and said, I read a sentence in a book recently. To share with you, doing good makes the heart at ease and the days better. Isn't it interesting? I asked and answered myself. However, no answer was needed at all. After speaking, I went straight back to my room. Father and Mother Wang heard what I said, but didn't understand it. Instead, they felt this biological son was very strange. Mother Wang whispered, sure enough, he grew up in the mountains. He really can't compare to Ah Teng. The butler, who had withdrawn from the living room feeling the atmosphere was wrong, stood behind the door and happened to hear what I said when leaving. Based on the source and pronunciation, he did a rough search. Listening to Mother Wang's sigh and looking at the explanation of the sentence I said on the phone screen, his face became serious. Doing good makes the heart at ease and the days better. It means those who act righteously have a calm heart, and their situation becomes smoother and smoother. Those who practice deceit will eventually waste their efforts despite racking their brains. Did the young master know something? Should he remind Father and Mother Wang? After hesitating several times, the butler went to the kitchen to heat a cup of milk and came to my room. I was standing in front of the window looking out. Hearing the knock on the door, I didn't turn my head. I just said directly, come in. The butler's attitude was very respectful. Eldest young master, seeing you came back late today, I heated a cup of milk for you. Drink it before you sleep. It can help you sleep. He put the milk on the bedside table, holding the tray and looking at me. I didn't turn around, nor did I speak. The butler lowered his eyes with complicated feelings. Then, eldest young master, sleep early. Tomorrow is Saturday. Breakfast time will be an hour later than usual. If you want to dine with the madam and the others, you can adjust your time, or if you want to arrange to dine at another time, that is also fine. He bowed slightly and was about to take his leave when he heard me ask abruptly, you have a son? The butler stiffened all over and looked at me sharply. Since he was the butler, he naturally knew the movements of the entire Wang family like the back of his hand. In the days I had been at the Wang family, I had never chatted with anyone. How did I know he had a son? The glass at night was like a not-so-clear mirror, capable of roughly reflecting a person's expression. I stood in front of the window, without needing to turn back to look at the butler. I had already seen his demeanor through the glass beside me. I laughed involuntarily. Don't be so nervous. I just asked casually, with no other meaning. The butler restrained his expression. I apologize, eldest young master. I just didn't expect that the eldest young master, in such a short time, would be clear about my family situation. I shook my head. It's not such a short time. But the first time I saw you, I raised my chin towards the bookshelf not far away. Your son has been sick recently, right? Third shelf from the left on the bookshelf. Take a triangular charm out of the box. Put it under your son's pillow. There will be improvement within 3 days. The butler found a black leather box at a glance. After opening it, he didn't look around at other things, but only took a triangular charm in his palm. He was someone who had followed Old Master Wang and had seen many scenes and figures. Almost immediately, he guessed my ability. No wonder my aura and prestige were so peculiar. No wonder I said I knew his situation at first sight. The butler felt a chill in his heart. Before going upstairs, those wandering thoughts were completely settled. He showed himself again, bowing even deeper. Eldest young master, is there anything you need me to do? Not for the time being. I thought to myself that talking to smart people saves worry. If there is in the future, I will actively look for you. The implication was, if I didn't actively look for him, I didn't need him to do anything. The butler expressed understanding. When he closed the door for me, he couldn't help but take a quick look at me. I was surprisingly still standing in front of the window, not knowing what I was looking at. Before sleeping, I habitually made a finger divination calculation. Since I came to this world, I would calculate for myself once every night, except for a certain result showing an anomaly a year ago. All my past calculation results were consistent. However, today was destined to be different. After my fingers moved rapidly a few times, I suddenly looked up, my eyes shining brightly. I had originally lain down, but now I got up immediately, dug out paper and pen from the cabinet, and began to calculate based on the numbers. By the time I finished the deduction and confirmed it, it was nearly 3 a.m. I breathed a long sigh of relief, showing no fatigue on my face, but rather full of joy. Today, Niyu asked me, so there are things you can't solve too? I answered, of course. For example, returning to the Wang family. Niyu didn't understand what I meant. Only I myself knew clearly. If I didn't return to the Wang family, I would undoubtedly die. As the saying goes, deep love does not last long. Extreme wisdom leads to injury. Just as Xie Ruyan's destiny was noble to the extreme, making it difficult for the world to contain her, I understood heaven's secrets and possessed special abilities, so I was also destined not to live long. Or to put it another way, people in metaphysics often have the situation of 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies. The 5 disadvantages refer to widower, widow, orphan, solitary, and disabled. The 3 deficiencies are money, fate, life, and power. What I violated was the heaviest one deficiency of life. In my previous life, I was born into a family of goo poison wizards, with top-tier cultivation secret techniques to extend my life, and an upgradable spatial magical artifact to provide spiritual energy. I still couldn't escape the curse of dying at 25. To be honest, I didn't expect that I could still live in another way. The real son of the Wang family was switched with someone else after birth. The parents who took the wrong child encountered a car accident and passed away, leaving a boy less than 3 years old to starve alone at home. When that tiny body opened its eyes, I almost fainted from the empty feeling in my stomach. I almost fainted. I managed to find some biscuits at home and stepped on a chair, climbing onto the marble counter in the kitchen to boil water to drink. In the silent kitchen, a skinny little child, with a pale face, knelt before the kettle, gulping down water. The original body's grandfather, Zhang Hongren, received the news and rushed to the city in a burning anxiety. Pushing open the door, he saw this scene. His old eyes blurred, and he hugged me on the spot, shedding a few tears. Zhang Hongren was a man of metaphysics, living in a remote village in the southwest. After handling the inheritance of the original body's parents, he took me back to the southwest. He lost his wife in middle age and was lonely in his old age. Originally, he was at a loss about raising a grandson, but he soon discovered that I was exceptionally intelligent and showed amazing talent in metaphysics. Others had to read the Hanlongjing 100 times to memorize it, but I just scanned it casually and could recite it backwards fluently. Others, learning feng shui practices, had to hold a compass and fumble slowly. I climbed high and looked, and immediately saw through the mysteries. Others, writing talismans and mystic texts, had to bathe and burn incense, inviting gods and worshipping Buddha, and might not necessarily succeed. I waved my small hand, and it was a masterpiece. Zhang Hongren's past understanding of learning metaphysics was completely overturned by me. One must know that there are no perfect people or perfect things in this world. All extraordinary achievements must come from someone paying an extraordinary price. This is also what people often say: one drink and one peck is determined by destiny. The cause leads to the effect, and there must be a cause. Sure enough, Zhang Hongren deduced my destiny and fortune, and discovered that I would not live past 20. At that time, I was already 15. Zhang Hongren was overwhelmed with grief and fell seriously ill. Instead, it was I who cooked medicine for him, while comforting him. What are you afraid of? For a genius like me, every year I live in this world is worth 10 years of others. Even if I only live to 20, it's better than others living to 100. Zhang Hongren said hoarsely, "Did you know long ago? With such exceptional talent, how could I not have calculated for myself?" I acquiesced. Zhang Hongren asked why I didn't tell him earlier. If there was more time, maybe I could have found a way. I smiled. Then you knew long ago I wasn't your biological grandson. Why didn't you tell me? The two looked at each other, quiet for a moment, then laughed at the same time. Zhang Hongren sighed with a smile. So you knew this too. Sometimes I feel you really aren't like a child. Does it matter if we are related by blood? For so many years, not being biological is better than being biological. Long, long ago, I had already seen through the truth of the original body's background. If I really wanted to return to the Wang family, I had 10,000 ways to do it easily, but I never considered this matter. Living in the small village with old man Jiang, life was very comfortable. I had no extravagant hopes for my lifespan either. In my previous life, I had divine skills and rare treasures, lasting until 25, yet still unable to escape the pursuit of the heavenly Tao. In this life, this body of mine has limited aptitude and is even more unable to cultivate. No need to waste effort. But Zhang Hongren didn't agree. He rummaged through ancient books and rare manuscripts, trying to find a way to break my fate. He also urged me every day to think of a way. I said there was no solution. He blew his beard and stared, saying, "Aren't you a genius? Is there such a stupid genius, resigning to fate without doing anything? Get up and think quickly. This old man doesn't want to experience a white-haired person sending off a black-haired person again. I'm still counting on you to offer incense for me in the future." Perhaps his last sentence moved me. I began to seek a solution, but I calculated day after day, yet saw not the slightest turning point. Until a year ago, after I graduated from high school, I woke up suddenly in the middle of a certain night, feeling something in my heart. I pinched my fingers to calculate and discovered a glimmer of vitality, and this glimmer of vitality faintly pointed to the north. The next day, when Zhang Hongren learned of it, without a word, he wanted to pack luggage and take me to the north. It was I who stopped him. The vitality is weak, without a specific direction. I still don't know how long you'll have to wander outside. You are old. Just wait for my news at home. Then I alone, carrying money and carrying things, traveled in the north. After the new year, while appraising in an antique shop, I received a call from the Wang family. The voice on the phone said, "May I ask if this is young Master Zhang Heng?" It's like this. There is something you might need to know. Please don't get excited. I looked up and saw a streak of golden light on the distant horizon, rising solemnly. Then I called Zhang Hongren. I received a call from my biological parents. It was the Wang family in Dijing calling to tell me they have ulterior motives. This trip might have some twists and turns, but that glimmer of my vitality corresponds to the Wang family. I still have to go. Zhang Hongren was worried about me. How about I go over too? If anything happens, we can look out for each other. I refused directly. Wait until I figure out the situation. Then I'll bring you over. I handled the miscellaneous matters at hand and arrived in Dijing a few days later. Returning to the Wang family, after meeting the Wang family members, I was truly somewhat disappointed. This family was either stupid or bad, not a single kind and virtuous person. I couldn't see anything special about them. I found it hard to understand where that glimmer of vitality lay. However, at this moment, looking at the dense calculation process before my eyes, the faces of the Wang parents flashed through my mind, along with the aura tainted on their bodies. Xie Ruyan lying on the bed without breathing, but with purple aura so dense it almost solidified. Finally, everything became clear. So that's how it is. The vitality corresponds to the Wang family, but is not in the Wang family. The Wang family is a thread, only to lead me through layers of obstacles, allowing me to successfully meet Xie Ruyan. That glimmer of my vitality is actually on Xie Ruyan. Looking back now at the previous nearly 20 years, I realized it was a bit strange. The Wang family's son was not yet born when the baby engagement was set with the Xi family. After birth, he was switched and lost outside. The young child died early. I returned home many years after awakening and encountered the comatose and victimized Xie Ruyan. If any event had gone differently, it would have triggered completely different consequences. All of this now, is it coincidence? In the unseen world, is it heaven's will? Or is there an invisible hand pushing from behind? My vitality lies with Xie Ruyan, but what does it specifically refer to? Various mysteries came rushing at me. I pondered for a long time. I took the paper on the table in my hand, folding it over and over, finally folding it into a triangle. Holding it at my fingertips, I gazed at it. In the deep night, mist rose, as if a layer of water vapor had also risen in the room. My brows and eyes were blurred within it, appearing somewhat hazy. I loosened my fingertips, and the paper folded into a triangle fell down unsteadily. Before it hit the ground, with a swish, it ignited with a small flame, instantly turning into a small pile of dust, piling up on the floor. Never mind. There must be a way when the cart reaches the mountain. No matter what, being able to live is always better than dying early. Just like old man Zhang said, he is still waiting for me to offer incense for him in the future. I smiled lightly, turning back to bed to sleep, stepping forward and kicking off my slippers. I happened to scatter the dust not far away. The next day was Saturday. The maid came to clean my room and suddenly paused, asking, "Eldest young master, did you open the window last night? I remember I mopped the floor very clean yesterday. Why is there such obvious dust in the cracks today?" The maid cleaned the house every day. People were in the bedroom, and all wore clean slippers. Logically speaking, this situation shouldn't occur. I was reading a book in the beanbag chair. Hearing this, I looked up and smiled comfortably at the maid. I don't remember. Probably, they'll pay attention next time. Thank you for your hard work today. When I smiled, I looked very gentle. The maid's heart melted upon seeing it. She hurriedly said, "It's nothing. It's my job anyway. I just wanted to remind the eldest young master. The weather has been cold recently. Opening the window at night makes it easy to catch a cold. If you want to ventilate, it's better to open the window during the day as much as possible." I nodded obediently. "Thank you, Auntie. I'll remember." The maid went downstairs carrying the garbage bag with dust, because there was also garbage in the living room. She went to the living room on the way. A wind from nowhere suddenly blew over. The mouth of the garbage bag in the maid's hand loosened, and some dust invisible to the naked eye floated out. Sitting in the living room, Father Wang, who was talking to Mother Wang, felt cold all over and sneezed violently. Mother Wang stopped talking and touched his forehead with concern. "What's wrong with you? Did you catch a cold?" Father Wang frowned. "Maybe a little. I made an appointment with the Xie family, saying we would visit tomorrow. Do you think we should take Ah Heng there?" Mother Wang was still somewhat hesitant. "Do we really have to let Ah Heng marry her, given third Miss' condition? He is our biological son after all." Father Wang stood up wanting to check messages on his phone. Maybe he got up a bit too quickly. His head spun. He rubbed his temples. That side is already preparing to act. I don't dare to be certain about the Xie family's matters. We can only tie Ah Heng to the main family first. In case of any eventuality, we also have a way out. I know you see Ah Heng as elegant and handsome, matching your expectations for a son, but the current situation is special, regardless of what happens in the future. Well, give Ah Heng more money, ensuring he lives a wealthy life. What do you think? Mother Wang said. It seems that's the only way. It wasn't that she didn't feel it was a pity, although she had a very good relationship with Wang Teng these years, and Wang Teng was also a noble young master praised in the wealthy circle. She always felt Wang Teng was missing something. He didn't meet all her expectations for a son. Until the first day Zhang Heng returned home. She looked at Zhang Heng eating at the same table with her. With that natural temperament, she suddenly realized what Wang Teng lacked was a kind of nobility flowing from the bones. It was something even postnatal cultivation couldn't give him. But Zhang Heng possessed it. At that moment, Mother Wang felt quite regrettable in her heart. She couldn't help thinking, if Ah Heng hadn't been switched at birth and was raised in the Wang family, how excellent would he be now? And as the madam of the Wang family, how much face would she have in the circle of madams? Mother Wang felt like she had lost a peerless jewel worth showing off, and sighed with regret when Father Wang sneezed in the morning. No one took it seriously, but unexpectedly, he developed a high fever that afternoon. His face burned red, his head was groggy, and he couldn't even climb up. After the family doctor saw him, he said he must be sent to the hospital. Otherwise, the high fever could easily cause other illnesses. So the Wang family hurriedly sent Father Wang to the nearest hospital for an IV drip and followed the doctor's suggestion, letting Father Wang stay in the hospital for observation for a few days. The meeting Father Wang arranged with the Xie family for the next day to discuss the engagement naturally came to nothing. After following the Wang family to the hospital, I took a car back, strolling in the garden. I looked at a large cluster of snow-white flowers, which were very beautiful. So I asked the passing butler what flowers these were. The butler looked carefully and called the gardener to confirm. He learned it was a kind of autumn chrysanthemum. The name was Golden Hall Royal Horse. It was what Mr. Wang specifically asked for. I laughed involuntarily. He specifically asked for white chrysanthemums, although this white chrysanthemum is not that white chrysanthemum for funerals. It is still a white chrysanthemum. The butler turned a blind eye to my obviously sarcastic smile and added, when purchasing, Mr. Wang liked the name and specifically asked for it. Later, when he found out they were white chrysanthemums, it's not very appropriate, right? Who plants a patch of white chrysanthemums in a perfectly good garden. I guessed Father Wang mostly wanted to have them pulled out directly, but felt it was he who asked for them in the beginning, and was afraid of losing face, so he was embarrassed to speak up. Golden Hall Royal Horse. Good name. I brushed the petals with a smile and said meaningfully, maybe many things are like choosing flowers. Looking at the name and the surface, thinking it's magnificent, thinking the result will definitely be as desired, but not knowing that unspeakable suffering is waiting behind. The butler seemed to understand nothing. He stood quietly aside with his head down, turning a deaf ear. This week, Father Wang was in the hospital. Mother Wang accompanied him there. The house suddenly became much quieter. Since Wang Teng was warned by me, he seemed to be somewhat afraid of me too. He didn't cause any more trouble. I was happy to be relaxed. Every day, besides attending classes, I was preparing things to use on Saturday. Niyu was very concerned about this matter, and also very curious, chasing after me every day asking this and that. I skipped class to go to the antique street, and he followed along. Will you make a big scene then? Will you make a big scene? Lightning and thunder, Wind and clouds, crackling and popping. Do we need to find a good venue? Do we need lightning rods? Also, I see others open altars to invite gods. Do they all need that kind of big pot? Do we need to customize one? Hearing this, I was a bit speechless. We are cultivating the Tao. Lightning rods aren't needed. A big pot is needed, preferably custom made. Just use your height and body shape as the standard. Nie Yu was originally taking notes seriously, but hearing the end, he couldn't help asking strangely, why use me as the standard? I was scanning around and spotted a good thing on a stall not far away. So I slowly leaned over and spared a moment to give him a friendly smile. Because we'll have to put you in it then. Add some scallions, ginger, and garlic. Sprinkle some cumin powder, freshly stewed, directly ascending to heaven. The gods in heaven are very lonely. They like pot-stewed ones like you. What do you think? Hearing this, Niyu exclaimed in horror. That sounds terrible. My skin is rough and my flesh is tough. I wouldn't taste good. The gods wouldn't like it. As the two were talking, at this moment I happened to walk to the stall I had my eye on. The stall owner was an uncle in his 40s, sitting on a folding stool playing a tile-matching game. He didn't even lift his head when he heard someone coming, just greeted casually. They are all treasures. Feel free to look. I squatted down, pretending to casually pick up a porcelain plate to examine, but my peripheral vision fell on a safety buckle nearby. The safety buckle was the size of a copper coin, entirely light green, but the green was mixed with wisps of white lines. It didn't look like a high-quality piece, but at a glance, I saw the faint spiritual energy emitting from it. After looking at other things for a while, I finally picked up the safety buckle to examine it, asking the boss, how much is this? The boss looked up at me, frozen for a moment. People in Antique Street have sharp eyes. He saw at a glance that Niyu and I were either rich or noble. So when asked for the price, he held up 5 fingers without a guilty conscience. I smiled faintly. 500. The boss chuckled. Add 2 zeros to the back. Add 2 zeros. That would be 50,000. Niyu frowned immediately, persuading me. This is just a small gadget made of horse-toothed jade. It's not worth 50,000 at all. If you like jade, I'll pick one from home for you later. He blurted out the jade variety of the safety buckle. The boss thought, oh no, and quickly corrected himself. But I see you two are destined for it. I'll give you a loss-making price of 3,000. Take it directly. He quoted a price that wasn't too high or too low, betting that these second-generation rich kids would never care about such a small amount and would spend it freely. Unexpectedly, Niyu and I didn't play by the rules. Niyu said, it's not worth it. Don't buy it. I said, 500 is already letting you earn a profit. I won't buy it for a penny more. Saying that, I made a move to put the safety buckle down. This little trinket had been sitting there for a long time without anyone asking. Now that he could sell it and still make a profit, the boss didn't dare miss the opportunity. He quickly placed the QR payment code in front of my eyes, pretending to be helpless. Fine, fine. Pay and take it. After I paid and left, Niyu was still a bit indignant. He just saw that we were young and deliberately asked for a high price for such an inferior product. We lost out even paying 500. He wasn't distressed about that bit of money. Mainly, he was dissatisfied with the boss' initial attitude of wanting to rip us off. I rubbed the jade buckle in my palm. If others bought it, it would be an inferior product. But since I bought it, it's not. Niyu laughed loudly. I believe you can tell fortunes. But surely you can't turn waste into treasure, right? No matter what, it can't turn into old pit jade. Niyu's eyes widened as he looked at the safety buckle I held up. The ring-shaped jade that looked rough and chaotic just now presented a translucent texture under the sunlight, crystal clear and pure. The emerald green appeared extremely deep and rich. Isn't this imperial green? Niyu took it over in shock to look. Incoherent. It didn't look like this just now. My cousin used to wear a guanyin pendant. It was said to be a rare top-grade piece and was consecrated. Collectors looked at it 4 or 5 years ago, saying the price was no less than 500 million. Niyu sighed. This safety buckle of yours looks no worse than my cousin's piece. It didn't look like this just now, right? Niyu simply began to doubt his own eyes. He looked at the safety buckle, then looked at me, muttering, if you can turn every piece of inferior jade into a supreme treasure, wouldn't you be able to get rich very quickly? He said it casually, not expecting me to ponder for a few seconds. You actually provided a good idea. He pointed at the safety buckle, lowering his voice. Can you really change the variety of jade? I said, more than that, I can also change the species of humans. Hearing there was such a secret technique, Niyu's spirits lifted. He looked around furtively and whispered, what do you mean? Is it the kind of skill like the 72 transformations? I put away the safety buckle, smiling no, the kind that turns people into fools. Niyu was astonished. How do you turn people into fools? I said slowly, want you know if you turn on your phone's front camera? Niyu paused and did it subconsciously when he saw his own big face appear on the screen. He suddenly realized, Zhang Heng, you tricked me again. After speaking, he patted his own forehead in annoyance. Oh God, why am I so silly? I couldn't help laughing out loud. After laughing, I sighed with emotion. What's wrong with being silly? Silly people have silly blessings. If a person can still be silly after becoming an adult, it shows they have support and backing behind them. There are people protecting him in front, so he doesn't have to see the mess outside. Niyu was silent for a moment. My parents say the same thing. They are very tolerant of me, never asking me to inherit the family business. My grandfather also said, even if I can't do anything in the future, I can live freely under my cousin's protection. But my cousin now, Niyu was very sad. Is there really no way for her lifespan? I thought of the glimmer of vitality I had finally found after many years, and thought of Xie Ruyan's unique aura. Thoughtful, there must be a way. I just don't know what the way is yet. Friday afternoon, after finishing the week's courses, I got into Mi Ping's family car. Mi Ping complained. Originally I suggested treating you to a meal out, but my parents insisted on having it at home. I don't know what they are thinking. I was replying to a message, listening to her speak. I just gave an O and said flatly, they probably want me to take a look at your family's feng shui while I'm there. Mi Ping hadn't thought of this layer. She was a bit embarrassed. Will that be very troublesome? I said lightly, not troublesome. It's a paid service. I charge for reading feng shui. Mi Ping's family lives in a quite famous villa area. The landscaping is done very well, backed by green mountains, with flowing water in front. After the car drove into the community, the speed slowed down. I looked all the way from the backseat window and praised, this community is nice. How much is the housing price? I've been looking at houses recently, planning to buy a property to bring old man Zhang over. Mi Ping scratched her head. I'm not too clear. I haven't asked this question. The car stopped at the Mi family's gate. The Mi family members were all waiting outside. Mi Yan stepped forward to open the car door. After getting off the car and exchanging greetings, our group walked towards the Mi house. Father Mi introduced the scenery to me along the way. It wasn't until we reached the living room and tea was served that he spoke. Actually, we invited the master to sit at home today. There is also a presumptuous request. Mother Mai followed closely. It's not for anything else, really. Ever since Xiaoyan had that accident last time, we haven't been able to set our minds at rest. Last time, the master told Ping Ping in advance, letting Xiaoyan escape a disaster, but we don't know if there will be anything else later. Father Mi smiled bitterly and agreed, mainly to ask the master to take a look at our family members, to see if there are any unfulfilled tribulations. Is what happened to Mi Yan something destined in his fate? Or is there a problem with our family's feng shui? Or something else? I had guessed their thoughts long ago, and didn't feel surprised. I suggested proactively, why don't we look around the house? Father Mi was overjoyed and hurriedly stood up to lead the way. The Mi family's decoration leans towards Chinese style overall, exquisitely arranged, warm colors. It can be seen that the owners are very attentive. I followed behind, looking all the way to the third floor, feeling the flow of qi was comfortable, seeming to have no problems. When leaving the master bedroom, my eyes suddenly sharpened, looking at the swimming pool outside. A bit strange, after moving into this house, didn't you hire someone to look at it? Mother Mi said, we originally said we would find someone to look. But the year we moved into this house, Xiaoyan was taking the college entrance exam. The family was preparing for his exam and didn't attend to it. Later, the matter was forgotten. I thought to myself, no wonder such a big problem was hidden in the backyard. Was the swimming pool there when you got the house? Mother Mi and the others followed my gaze, looking at the long, deep pool in the backyard. It was there from the beginning. She asked in confusion, is there any problem with this swimming pool? I see most pools in the community are like this. I took a step back, letting Father Mai and Mother Mai stand in my position to look. Look from this angle. Do you feel the pool is a bit different? Father Mi frowned. I don't see anything. Mother Mi hesitated. It looks a bit deformed. Exactly. I smiled. Fill in the swimming pool and rebuild it. Father Mi understood now. The master means there is a problem with this pool. The pool itself has no problem, but viewed from the master bedroom angle, it forms a sickle-like arc. We call this situation a sickle sha. It easily invites filth and ominous energy. If living people reside here for a long time, the lungs will feel uncomfortable. Father Mi hurriedly asked, then how should we handle the rebuilding? I pointed to the southwest. It's best to build it in a figure-8 shape or gourd shape there, looking more rounded, but it cannot be a complete circle. Father Mi nodded repeatedly, quickly recording it in his phone. Nothing else. My gaze finally landed on Father Mi's face. I paused and said, husband and wife have deep affection. Children are both present. If nothing unexpected happens, your career can go a step further, and you can enjoy your later years after retirement. Father Mai felt as if he had been seen through by me. His spine went cold. His mind was full of my meaningful sentence. If nothing unexpected happens, his company had been getting bigger these years. Socializing outside, he inevitably visited some entertainment venues. Seeing many peers with red flags not falling at home, but colorful flags fluttering outside, he occasionally had wandering thoughts too. But he indeed hadn't done anything. Hearing my words at this moment, those thoughts that had once floated up, dissipated completely. Definitely, definitely. Father Mai hugged Mother Mai and said sincerely, I will definitely be content and cherish my blessings. Mother Mai didn't notice anything, and cheerfully led me to the dining room for dinner. At the dinner table, Father Mai and Mother Mai praised me continuously. The words used made even Mping blush. She whispered in Mian's ear, Mom and Dad really haven't praised me like this in so many years. I'm afraid they've used up all the good words of this lifetime on Zhang Heng. After eating and chatting casually for a bit, I got in the car and left. On the way, I heard a phone notification. Opening it, I saw another large sum of money transferred. I smiled and conveniently found the commonly used Children and Women's Aid Foundation. Transferring half of the amount out, last Saturday, I agreed with the Xie family to go to the hospital this Saturday. Yu personally brought the driver. As soon as we met, he handed me the milk tea I asked for. You actually want to drink milk tea too? When I received the message, I thought your account was hacked. I took a sip of the rich and thick taro paste, feeling that milk tea is truly a great modern invention. I nestled lazily in the seat. Otherwise, what do you think I usually eat? Niyu said seriously, drinking white dew, eating night rain and frost or something? I laughed. That is an immortal, not a master. Masters not only don't drink dew, some might even like to eat durian and stinky tofu. Niyu's expression cracked after finishing a cup of milk tea. The car arrived at the hospital they visited last time. This time guarding the ward. Besides Niyu's mother, Xie Huili, and Old Master Xie, there was also Niyu's father, and a tall, handsome man. The man's face was cold and stern. His whole person had a wild and unruly temperament. When shaking hands with me, he hooked his lips. It could be seen he was already trying his best to look amiable. Hello, I am Ruyan's eldest brother. Thank you for coming today, and thank you for your help to the Xie family. After exchanging a few pleasantries, I put the bag I was carrying on the table, taking things out of the bag. Everyone saw that from my not-so-large bag. First, I took out a few sticks of incense and cinnabar, then took out a stack of talisman paper, and finally, I actually took out a jade rui. Old Master Shai's eyes lit up. As soon as he saw that jade rui, Master, this rui is a good thing. I handed the jade rui to him to look. No need to call me Master. Just call me Zhang Heng. This rui counts as a magical artifact. I usually don't take it out to use. Old Master Xi took it carefully and examined it closely. He has seen countless rare treasures, but at this moment he couldn't help clicking his tongue in wonder. Rare, truly rare? It really is the best among jades. It seems Zhang Heng has spent a lot of effort. I laughed. They all say jade nourishes people, but in fact, jade also needs people to nourish it. To raise it to this state also took a lot of effort. Seeing the time was about right, I stuck a talisman on Xie Ruyan's eyebrows, picked up a few sticks of incense and swiped them in the void. Grabbed once, those few sticks of incense actually ignited spontaneously in midair, and were firmly nailed in midair, motionless. Everyone else widened their eyes. Watching this completely unscientific scene, Niyu murmured, "This is unreasonable. Gravity, Newton's coffin lid can't be held down." No one paid attention to him. Everyone stared tightly at me. I closed my eyes, pointed at my eyebrows, then used my finger as a pen, and drew quickly in midair. At this time, it was when the sunlight was strongest. The room was originally unusually bright, but between my movements, the room suddenly darkened. Thunder roared, a sudden wind rose. The green incense and talisman paper turned to dust in an instant. In the place where I was originally writing in the air, a sparkling golden character emerged. The character swayed, and with a push from me, it shattered into thousands of lights and shadows, silently dissipating into Xie Ruyan's body. The Xie family only saw. A blinding purple light seemed to emit from between Xie Ruyan's eyebrows, rushing straight towards me, and I looked as if I had been hit hard by someone, falling onto Xie Ruyan's body with a thud. Master, Zhang Heng. The Xie family turned pale with fright, hurriedly stepping forward to help me up, but I waved my hand, struggling to prop myself up. I had just propped up my upper body, and hadn't completely stood up yet, when I met a pair of eyes as black as ink. The owner of the eyes seemed a bit confused, and asked in a hoarse voice, "Who are you?" "Cousin Ruyan." The Xie family members realized Xie Ruyan had woken up, and gathered around one after another. Xie Huili rushed to her bedside, tears immediately flowing uncontrollably. "Ruyan, you finally woke up. We almost thought." She held Xie Ruyan's arm, sobbing uncontrollably. Ni Yu's father stepped forward to comfortingly embrace her shoulders. "All right. Don't cry. Isn't Ruyan awake now?" Old Master Sai's eyes were also red, but after all he was older, and could still hold himself together. He said, "It's good that you're awake." Then he solemnly bowed to me. "Zhang Heng, your kindness to the Xie family today will be engraved in the hearts of the Xie family, and never forgotten. In the future, whatever you need, the Xie family will do anything." With a lift of my finger, a stream of air surged out, gently blocking Old Master Shai's movement, preventing him from bending down. Meeting his fate, there is no need for such a grand gesture. Old Master Xie was startled, not knowing how I possessed such power. He hurriedly looked back at the Xie family members. Seeing that they were all talking in front of Xie Ruyan's sickbed, He breathed a long sigh of relief, although what I had demonstrated before was already mysterious enough. He felt this kind of supernatural act was still better known by fewer people. Jungheng, why is my cousin still very weak? Niyu asked anxiously. Is there anything else that needs to be done? Although Xie Ruyan had opened her eyes, she could only slowly speak a few words. Her fingers moved, but she couldn't lift them, let alone other parts of her body. I went over to take a look. The curse placed on her by someone else has been lifted. Her current state is mostly sequelae. It's a matter of bodily functions. You can find a doctor to check later. She should be fine within 3 months. I know a little about medicine and can see the basic situation. Reminded by me, the Xie family members also calmed down slightly from the surprise of Xie Ruyan's awakening, remembering that I once said that Xie Ruyan falling into a coma was not a medical problem, but someone operating in the dark. Xie Huili wiped her tears. I remember when Zhang Heng came to see Ruyan last Saturday. He mentioned that Ruyan was harmed by someone. I wonder if Zhang Heng has any clues. Several people instantly looked at me. I pondered for a moment. The curse Miss Xie was under was originally called 9 Ghosts Borrowing Luck. This kind of curse transfers the good luck of the cursed person to a fixed person. But because Miss Xie's destiny is special, even the most powerful person cannot transfer luck from her. So the caster changed the original way of casting the curse, just to disrupt Miss Xi's destiny, and Miss Shai's own destiny. I paused, knowing the Xie family understood, so I glossed over it with a vague sentence. That's why Miss Xie remained unconscious. I heard Niyu say that Mr. Xie had invited many people from the metaphysical world to take a look, but none solved it. The reason lies here. The caster has deep cultivation and should be very talented. He didn't blindly follow the fixed way of casting curses, which is equivalent to creating a new curse method by combining old knowledge. That's why many masters were helpless. Seeing the Xie family members seemed to understand, but not fully. I simply gave a simple example. For example, junior high school students learn derivatives in math class, but calculus is learned in high school or later. Although, there is a very big connection between derivatives and calculus. One belongs to elementary mathematics. They are not on the same level. Speaking of academic education, everyone understood immediately. This is like an ordinary junior high student meeting a university professor. Those metaphysical masters only know how to solve junior high derivative problems, not expecting the university professor to give a calculus problem. So they were dumbfounded. Since that caster is so powerful, will he make a comeback? Or will he take revenge on you? Niyu was worried. No, I said affirmatively. He hasn't seen me and doesn't know who I am. He has probably suffered a backlash by now. Moreover, even if his talent is high, casting a curse on Miss Xie shouldn't have succeeded so easily. If I guess correctly, he must have Miss Shai's personal belongings in his hand. I turned my head to look at Xie Ruyan, who was listening quietly on the bed. Miss Xie, is there anything you carried for many years, but lost before the incident? Xie Ruyan moved her dry lips. Before she could speak, Niyu preemptively said, yes, cousin had a jade Buddha pendant, which disappeared inexplicably. Xie Ruyan murmured in agreement. I remembered later, only uncle came to my room at that time. Xie Ruyan's uncle is Old Master Xi's nephew Xi Deong. The Xie family's faces all looked very ugly. Xi Chengshen snorted coldly. Wolfish ambition. Does he think the Xi family is so easy to manage? I nodded. I guessed it was someone from your own family too, because it's hard for non-family members to get your birth date, personal items, hair, blood, and such things. Thinking about it, I felt a bit apologetic towards Xie Ruyan. I said just now when I was fighting with that person, your Buddha pendant should have been destroyed. I heard your pendant was quite expensive. Sorry, Xie Ruyan wasn't quite adapted to fluent conversation yet. Speaking very slowly, it's okay, I should thank you for saving me. I smiled slightly. Old Master Xi saw his granddaughter's weak appearance now, and felt unbearable pain in his heart. He had already made a decision. Zhang Heng, I want to ask you one more thing. I nodded. Mr. Xi, please speak. Old Master Xie, please do not inform outsiders that Ruyan has woken up. We want to deal with the internal problems of the Xie family first. I understood. This was to clean up the house, worried about alerting the enemy. No problem. I just came today to visit a classmate's family, and did nothing else. By the way, I said with a smile, to prevent outsiders from talking, it'll help you block it along the way. I picked up the talisman paper ashes that fell from between Xie Ruyan's eyebrows just now, walked to the window and recited a few sentences. The talisman naturally turned into ash immediately, and drifted out of the window. Someone in a villa in the suburbs of Su Province, far away, spat out another mouthful of blood on the ground in front of him. Scattered fragments of emerald jade that were almost crushed into powder, and nearly dried blood. He was just about to call to question Xie Deong, when he felt the curse breaker strike again. Fellow practitioner, how dare you be so ruthless? This person clutched his chest and said hatefully, don't let me find out who you are. Otherwise, blood spurted out. Before he completely passed out, he struggled to send a message to his disciples walking outside. Sect in trouble, return immediately. The Xi family saw my actions, and vaguely guessed what I was doing. Xie Huili said gratefully, thank you Zhang Heng. Xie Chengshan also said that Ruyan can wake up is all thanks to young Master Zhang's efforts. If there is any need in the future, please just ask. I felt the power still filling my body, pondered for a moment. Actually, I really do have something right now. Hearing that there was something he could help me with, old Master Xie, spirits lifted. If there is anything, you can say it directly. I looked at Xie Ruyan with some hesitation. I said to the Xie family, this matter needs to be discussed with Miss Xie alone first. I wonder if it's convenient. Several people were stunned, looked at each other, and all hurriedly retreated out. Convenient, convenient. Xie Huili dragged Niyu, whose head was full of question marks, out, while smiling, call us if you need anything. The ward door closed. Xie Huili's expression changed. She raised her arm and knocked on Niyu's head. Why are you like a blockhead all day? Seeing Zhang Heng had something to say. You still stood there hesitating to speak. Niyu rubbed his head aggrievedly. I just think it's strange. Brother Zhang Heng didn't know cousin before. I wanted to ask what he wanted to do. If it was convenient for him to tell you, would he need to tell Ruyan alone? Do we need you to ask? Xie Huili glared at him. But Xie Huili whispered, could it be because of the baby engagement? Jiang Heng is in such a hurry to cancel the engagement. Ruyan just woke up and he can't wait. Niyu's father had also heard me mention this matter before. Hearing this, he said, young people nowadays indeed don't like old-fashioned things. This kind of engagement set by elders, they won't acknowledge it. Xinshen said in a deep voice, no matter what, everything should follow young Master Zhang's wishes. He is the benefactor of the Xi family. Xie Huili sighed regretfully. Inside the ward, I was indeed discussing the marriage engagement between the two families with Xie Ruyan. But, unlike what the Xi family thought, I wasn't asking to cancel the engagement immediately. Instead, I wanted Xie Ruyan to use the name of the engagement. Even with Xie Ruyan's calm and self-possessed personality, she couldn't help her pupils shrinking. She asked back slowly and in surprise, what did young Master Zhang just say? I repeated, I want you to wait until your health is a little better and move into my house in the name of my fiancé. After a moment of silence, she asked, does young Master Zhang have any intention? I first informed Xie Ruyan in detail about her destiny. Then I repeated what I had said to the Xie family earlier. Finally, I mentioned that I thought of a new method today, but this is only an attempt. I cannot guarantee success. Xie Ruyan said, young Master Zhang said my destiny is not to live past 30. Does this attempt mean helping me extend it for 2 more years? Or possibly more years? I added, more years. The extension of 2 years I told your family before was before I discovered the new method today. With the new method discovered today, in the future, it might help you live to 70 or 80. Who knows? Xie Ruyan asked softly, can I take the liberty to ask, what method is it, or will it hurt innocent people? Hurt young Master Zhang himself? I said frankly no. This matter, apart from concerning you and me, will not involve a third person. It is even beneficial for me. Xie Ruyan curled her lips. That's good. Then wait until I recover a bit. Roughly when? Young Master Zhang can tell me 2 or 3 days in advance, so I can make some preparations. Okay, I need about a week of preparation time here, although I really want to test it tomorrow. I haven't even had time to buy a house yet. I saw that Xie Ruyan had some doubts about cohabitation, so I explained regarding living together. You don't need to feel pressured, mainly because this method requires as much time together as possible. Living together avoids the trouble of you running back and forth, or me running back and forth. When I called the Xie family back in and told them my plan, I thought the Xie family wouldn't be at ease, and I would need to waste some breath. Unexpectedly, as soon as the Xie family heard I had a way to save Xie Ruyan, they were all overjoyed. Xie Huili was particularly concerned about the engagement between me and Xie Ruyan. Does Zhang Heng mean to announce the engagement, and then use the engagement as a reason to let you and Ruyan reasonably appear and live together? I nodded in response. Yes, mainly to avoid drawing attention, Xie Huili said with a look of expectation. Such a big matter, we must pick an auspicious day. It happens that Zhang Heng understands these things. Why don't you calculate a good day? I said truthfully. Actually, the recent days are all quite good. I plan to solve the house matter within a week and move in directly. You haven't bought a house yet. Old Master Xi tapped his cane. It's already hard enough saving Ruyan. How can we let you pay more? Why not live in the Xie family's old mansion? Or choose anyone from the Xie family's properties? Right, Xie Huili echoed. The Xie family has plenty of houses. Zhang Heng, why spend that money? Let's settle it like this. You don't need to worry about anything. I'll handle it. Since they said so, it wasn't appropriate for me to say anything else. I could only say, then I respectfully accept. Also, I suddenly remembered, I still have a very important thing to do. It happens that Miss Xie just woke up and also needs rest. I won't disturb you further. After speaking, I walked out of the ward, pretending to be calm. It's just that the back view looked like I was fleeing in panic no matter how you looked at it. I didn't want the Wang family to discover my connection to the Xie family just yet. So I had the Xie family's car stop at the entrance of the residential area and walked the rest of the way to the Wang residence alone. During dinner that evening, Father and Mother Wang brought up old matters. We should have discussed your marriage engagement with the Xie family last week, but because I fell ill, it was delayed. Father Wang frowned. We have already scheduled a time with the Xie family for next week. We need to settle this matter for you as soon as possible. If it were before today, I would have found a way to dissolve this engagement. But after the events that transpired today, I find myself in need of a marriage contract. So I replied calmly, okay, I understand. Wang Teng glanced at me, surprised that I accepted the arrangement made by our elders so readily. But then he thought about it. How long had I been back in Beijing? How could I possibly know about the Xie family's situation? The former head of the Xie family had been low-key, rarely appearing in public. Wang Teng had never seen her, but he guessed she must be unsightly in appearance. Otherwise, why would a young woman dislike showing her face? He felt smug inside. Even if I had some unusual abilities, so what? I still had to marry someone ugly, a woman who was about to turn 30, but he was different. The most important and happiest day of his life was arriving soon. The elders of both the Wang and Xie families had long since set his 19th birthday at the end of the month as the date for his engagement to Xie Ruyan. The invitations had already been sent out this week. At that time, the engagement banquet would be full of celebrities. Distinguished guests would arrive in droves, and the entire wealthy circle of Beijing would witness it. Sure enough, Mother Wang spoke up. Xiao Heng, I forgot to tell you earlier. The end of the month is Teng and Yanran's engagement banquet. Everyone else's dresses and jewelry are already prepared. You just came back, so there's no time to custom order anything now. Go buy a ready-made suit another day. You can also pick out any accessories you like. After she finished speaking, she remembered that, unlike Wang Teng, I hadn't grown up in high society and wasn't accustomed to banquet etiquette. So she added euphemistically, the engagement party is at the Qianshan Hotel. We have reserved 3 floors. If you don't like the noise when the time comes, you can just show your face and then go upstairs to rest. Wang Teng exclaimed in surprise. You actually reserved 3 floors. Of course, my little ancestor, Mother Wang scraped his nose affectionately. Those coming are all distinguished guests. We couldn't fail to consider a changing room and a place to rest. Wang Teng acted spoiled, Mom. You guys are so good to me. He turned to look at me with a cold, mocking smile. Brother Zhang Heng, you probably haven't heard of Qianshan Hotel, have you? It is the top luxury hotel under the Qianshan group. They only serve the rich. When he said the word rich, his tone was slightly heavier. This hotel, I heard the most ordinary, cheapest room, costs 50,000 yuan. The hotel's first floor lobby used 7.32 tons of gold and immeasurable pearls and crystals. The banquet hall we are using for this engagement is of the 2nd tier. The 1st tier is reserved for hosting foreign dignitaries and leaders. Although his face couldn't hide his smile, he pretended to be regretful. If only our home were in Bindu, then we could use the Qianshan Hotel there. They say the hotel over there has a huge private beach. Because of space limitations, Beijing only has hot springs. Speaking of this, Father Wang paused. I heard he has some friendship with the boss of Qianshan Hotel. The boss might even show up that day. Wang Teng gasped. Uncle Xie is too capable, isn't he? He even knows the owner of Qianshan Hotel. No wonder we could book 3 whole floors. I had a strange look in my eyes. He has a friendship with the boss of Qianshan Hotel. Wang Teng saw my expression and thought I was jealous. His delight grew even more intense. Uncle Xie has a wide network. It's not strange for him to know big shots. He explained in detail, fearing I wouldn't understand. The boss of Qianshan Hotel is named Song Junliang. He appears often in business magazine reports. He is also the vice president of the Qianshan Group. He usually associates with high officials and nobles. Ordinary people can't even get a glimpse of him. I let out a slow, Wang Teng was on a roll. He spoke endlessly, talking a lot about the topic of Qianshan Hotel. Mother Wang actually played along with him. It was obvious that they felt deeply honored to be able to hold the engagement banquet at Qianshan Hotel. After dinner, I returned to my room upstairs, locked the door, and placed a metaphysical restriction, ensuring no outsiders could intrude. I sat cross-legged on the floor and quickly summoned the energy I had absorbed from Xie Ruyan today. The lights in the room were not on. The clean glass seemed like a wall of copper and iron. Even the moonlight outside seemed unable to penetrate. Not a sound could be heard in the pitch-black room. It was as if no one existed there. A long time later, a certain spot lit up with a faint glimmer, like a curtain unveiled from a jewel, suddenly illuminating the darkness. My fan-like eyelashes trembled slightly. I opened my eyes. My gaze was bright and clear. I exhaled a long breath, went to the bathroom to take a shower, and washed off the sticky impurities from my body. 2 or 3 more times should be enough to completely change the constitution of this body. While drying my hair, I grabbed my phone and dialed a number. The phone rang once and was picked up immediately on the other end. A loud voice shouted happily, Master Heng. The restriction I had set was removed. Soft moonlight spilled into the room. On the screen of the phone currently in the call, the other party's name was clearly displayed. It was remarkably the person discussed. At the Wang family dinner tonight, Song Junliang. I responded with a hum and asked, are you busy right now? I have something to tell you. Not busy, not busy. Song Junliang waved his hand to the people at the dinner table, signaling everyone to keep quiet, while walking out of the private room holding his phone. Whatever instructions you have, just say them. I said, I have a favor to ask of you. Go to the Southwest next weekend. Help me bring my grandfather to your place. No need to rush on the road. The old man hasn't traveled far in years. Show him the scenery, it's fine. Song Junliang said with joy. Is Elder Zhang finally willing to come to Beijing? In the past, they had tried every method to persuade Elder Zhang to bring me to live in Beijing. But Elder Zhang wouldn't agree to anything, insisting on staying in the Southwest. I smiled. I am here, so Grandpa will definitely be willing to come. Song Junliang almost jumped up. What, you are in Beijing? My goodness. Why didn't you say hello when you came to Beijing? Why didn't you come to stay at Qianshan? What do you eat usually? Who is following you? All right. I threw aside the towel. Why are you acting like an old nanny, chattering on endlessly? When Song Junliang heard me say this, instead of being ashamed, he was quite proud. That's because they all say I am the imperial head steward. I really didn't want to remind him that imperial stewards were all eunuchs. I haven't been here long, just about half a month, except for old man Jiang. No one knows about my lifespan issue. I avoided that part, and only briefly mentioned the matter of the Wang family swapping children. I have some things to do later, so it's inconvenient to live at the Wangs. That's why I want to bring Grandpa over to live elsewhere. Song Junliang had struggled in the business world for so many years. He was as sharp as a fox. Although I didn't say much, he immediately realized the Wang family must be treating me poorly, thinking that someone might be giving me grief. Anger rose from the bottom of his heart, but he didn't say it immediately. Instead, he asked, will Elder Zhang live in Beijing permanently? If Elder Zhang can stay in Beijing, doesn't that imply that Master Heng will also stay in Beijing? Great, that's great. The battle between Beijing and Bindu, fighting for Master Heng. Beijing has finally won. Not necessarily. I thought for a moment, but I should be staying for 2 or 3 years. Song Junliang was a bit disappointed, but on second thought, 2 or 3 years wasn't bad. Besides, after living here for a while, maybe he would feel the goodness of Beijing and decide not to leave. He said, then I'll prepare a suite for you. Where would you like to live near? No need. I poured a glass of water, leaning against the cabinet, drinking slowly. Someone is already preparing a house for me. You just pick up my grandfather and arrange for him to stay at the hotel first. When the house is ready over there, I will pick the old man up. Song Junliang instantly went on high alert, who had learned of Master Heng's itinerary before him, and even prepared a house. This was outrageous. This was trampling on his dignity as the imperial head steward. He probed calmly without showing emotion. It's already arranged. That's good. I wonder which colleague in the group labored over this. I didn't know about his twisted thoughts, and said casually, it's not one of our own. It's from my fiancé's side. Song Junliang relaxed. So it's the Phi? Wait, why? He suddenly raised his voice. Fiancé? Song Junliang was like a farmer who discovered the cabbage he raised had been dug up by a pig. His face turned red with anger, not caring that he was in a hotel corridor. Who is the fiancé? Where did this toad come from? Trying to eat swan meat. I was shocked by his voice and stepped back slightly, moving the phone further away from my ear. I asked strangely, what are you getting so excited for? Song Junliang. You were born into the Heng family group. Reasonably speaking, I shouldn't say this, but I have been working with you for so many years, fighting alongside you all the way. I am nearly 20 years older than you, so I have a bit more life experience. I think you have just become an adult. You are too young to consider the issue of marriage. As the old saying goes, marriage is a grave. He didn't even care about using honorifics. His brain was full of 1,000 dangers of early marriage. Preparing to persuade me with force, he'll deal with that toad coming from nowhere. We want to get married. Seeing that he was about to launch into a long speech, I quickly interrupted him. Don't misunderstand. I didn't explain clearly. This is a fake fiancé. Actually, she's more like a business partner. Song Junliang wanted to ask what kind of cooperation required using the name of fiancé and fiancé, but he understood my character, knowing that if I didn't explain in detail, it meant there was a hidden situation behind it. So he had to swallow his words. All right, he mumbled. Then that little girl must have accumulated merit for 8 lifetimes. I laughed. All right. If there's nothing else, we'll chat in detail when we meet next time. When I just answered the phone, I heard noise on your end. You're eating out, right? Go be busy. When you're done, go home early to accompany my sister-in-law. Okay, Song Junliang agreed immediately. I'm going back right now. Master Heng, you rest early. After I ended the call, Song Junliang stood there and called his company assistant. Hello, this is Song Junliang. Starting next Friday, clear out 10 days of my schedule. I need to go out and pick up a VIP. No need to book a flight for me. I will drive there myself. He roughly had the assistant plan the itinerary. Only then did he return to the private room. He had been on the phone for nearly half an hour. Everyone in the private room had waited for him obediently. Seeing him push the door open and enter at this moment, they stood up one after another. President Song is back? Are the dishes cold? Let's order a fresh round. Yes. Waiter, clear this table and replace it with new ones. Song Junliang waved his hand. The concern that appeared on his face during his call with me, or the look of exasperation, had all vanished. There was only a calm and deep reserve. Don't change the dishes. It's too late. My big boss just instructed me, telling me to go home early to accompany my wife and children. The crowd couldn't figure out his thoughts. Looking at each other in dismay, someone tentatively said, "Big leaders are out of touch. How could they know the difficulties of us senior workers? How can we not socialize?" He was halfway through speaking. When he saw Song Junliang's eyes darken slightly, he immediately changed his tune. But President Song's boss is different. This shows he cares about President Song. The big boss of Qinshan must value President Song very highly. Song Junliang's expression warmed. He let out a sound of acknowledgement and said breezily, "It's all right, I guess. He just lets me know his itinerary immediately. That doesn't count as much. Lets you know his itinerary immediately. How is that not being valued?" The person flattering him froze. Momentarily unable to continue the conversation, the person next to him hurriedly tried to save the situation. "He definitely values you. For a figure as low-key and mysterious as the big boss of Qinshan, ordinary people can't even see him once. How would they have a chance to know anything else? President Song is indeed a confidant. To even know his itinerary, it shows he is deeply trusted." Song Junliang felt physically and mentally comfortable hearing this. He glanced at the person speaking, President Wang of Sichuan, right? Sure enough, a man of action. "You understand the corporate situation well. Your view of things is comprehensive. Very deep. Not bad, not bad." President Wang was spirited, knowing his words had hit the mark. "Calling you at this time must be for something important, right? Look, coming to you first for important matters shows your status." Song Junliang said modestly, "It's nothing too important. He just asked me to personally take his family out for a tour." But looking at Song Junliang's manner, assuming anyone dared to say it wasn't important, they would be immediately blacklisted from cooperation. Everyone could only laugh dryly and offer support. Important, important. President Wang stood out once again. He slapped his thigh, revealing a look of disapproval. "President Song, that's where you're wrong." Everyone looked at him in shock. Did this old guy suddenly not want to live anymore? Song Junliang put away his smile. President Wang's face was full of heartfelt sincerity. "How can you say this matter isn't important? This matter is too important. Think about it. How private is tourism, especially for the big boss of Qianshan who values privacy so much? Ideally, to let you accompany his own family on a tour, it must be done by a confidant." Good heavens, this logic twisted and turned. A complete turnaround, twisting everyone's heart rate out of rhythm, turning Song Junliang's vanity into great delight. He showed what could be called the friendliest attitude of the night, patting President Wang's shoulder. "I see President Wang has depth of thought. Your future is truly limitless." President Wang seized the moment to hand over a business card. "You flatter me, truly. I am still far behind President Song. Here is my humble card. Please, if you wouldn't mind, just keep it. If you ever need my humble services in the future, I would be honor-bound to assist. Even if you have no need for me, I am content just to look up to you from afar. As you enjoy smooth sailing at Qianshan Group." Song Junliang let out a hearty laugh, taking the card and tucking it into his suit pocket. The others looked on, green with envy, and immediately crowded around to echo the sentiment, saying how the capital office is a branch in name only, when it is, in fact, the true headquarters. Saying the old boss of Qianshan surely values President Song the most. That President Song is a dragon among men, a wise minister to the old boss' brilliant ruler. Song Junliang was in high spirits, feeling that today's dinner was thoroughly enjoyable. He couldn't resist adding a few words. "As for myself, I ask for nothing else. To follow President Heng for a lifetime, to see him marry and have children, to see him live a happy life. That is all the satisfaction I need." In the clamorous private dining room, it was a funny thing, really. The true big boss of the illustrious Qianshan Group had never been seen by anyone, save for a few trusted confidants within the group. The outside world could only guess, based on vague mentions from those aides, that the big boss's surname was Shui, since they referred to him as President Shui. But as for anything beyond that, nothing was known. The most widely accepted theory at the moment was that President Shui was the head of a major clan, perhaps 40 or 50 years old, with powerful backing and a sensitive identity, which made it inconvenient for him to appear in public. Yet, in this moment, when everyone heard Song Junliang mention marriage and children, they paused to think, and a wave of shock rippled through them. What did that imply? Could it be that the old boss of Qianshan was not yet married? Then how old was he? In his 30s, their minds began to race. After all, were there any handsome young men in their 30s who were known for keeping a low profile? As soon as the words left his mouth, Song Junliang realized his slip. He hastily changed the subject. "Where were we before I stepped out for that call? Let's wrap this up so we can all head home." The room, which had seemed paused for a moment, became lively once again. No one was foolish enough to pry further. And right up until the dinner concluded, not a soul mentioned the old boss of Qianshan again. However, while the matter was brushed over lightly at the table, It began to spread wildly once the meal was over. Over the next few days, everyone in the circle wore a mysterious look, whispering and gossiping among themselves. Have you heard? The old boss of Chanshan is actually only in his 30s, and he isn't even married yet. Latest news, the old boss of Chanshan is 28, looks quite ordinary, comes from a military and political family, and has a massive background. The rumors were diverse and grew increasingly bizarre. Some were so detailed and logically consistent that even I would have applauded their creativity. The news even reached the Wang household. I overheard the Wang family discussing the matter. Father Wang flipped through his newspaper and said, "Everyone has been talking about the head of Chanshan lately." Song revealed some information at a dinner, saying he's an overseas Chinese who left with his family years ago. There are issues with his legal status, which is why he never shows his face. The real old boss of Chanshan, having just walked in the door, caught the key words of this false testimony. Mother Wang interjected, "That's all just rumors. I met with Mrs. Wang today. Her husband was at that very dinner and spoke quite a bit with President Song. President Song's exact words were that he hopes to see their old boss get married and have children and live a happy life." Sometimes, compared to the distorted rumors circulating in the business world, the intelligence gathered through Madame Diplomacy is far more accurate. This was also why Father and Mother Wang, despite knowing that my personal qualifications were superior, chose to abandon me and focus on grooming Wang Teng. The reason being, while etiquette and details can be taught, the invisible wealth accumulated over years of social networking cannot. Father Wang suddenly understood. Brother Wang was at the dinner too. Then what his wife said must be true. Hearing this, I shook my head imperceptibly, finding the whole situation rather amusing. I decided not to listen any further, and prepared to go upstairs to cultivate, but Mother Wang called out to me, "Jiang Heng, wait a moment." I stopped in my tracks, turning back in confusion at the staircase. "What's wrong?" Mother Wang composed herself and said, "When little Teng was getting custom suits, he ordered a few extra. We just brought the suits back. We picked out 2 decent ones for you. Little Teng should be in your room. Go and try them on. Suits custom made for Wang Teng. Now brought back and claimed to be picked for me." I raised an eyebrow and said, "Understood." I went upstairs and pushed open the door. Sure enough, Wang Teng was sitting on my bed playing on his phone. Hearing me enter, he didn't even lift his head, showing none of the obedience he displayed before Father and Mother Wang. "You're back. The clothes are on the bed. Try them on." His attitude was dismissive. "Their colors I don't look good in anyway. Consider it a bargain for you." I glanced at the gift box on the bed and said, "No need to try them. Take them away. I will prepare my own clothes." Wang Teng was surprised. "No need. What will you wear? You aren't planning to wear a shirt and jeans to the banquet, are you?" He raised a brow mockingly. I gave a half smile. "I forgot. You grew up in the mountains. Except on TV, you've probably never seen a formal suit. But there are things TV won't tell you. Like this one." Speaking, he lifted a dark green suit with his fingertips. "This piece is by the designer William Hughes. He is the Imperial Capital's ladies' most popular designer. His teacher is the internationally renowned Xie Ruyan. Telling you this is pointless. You wouldn't understand. Let's talk price. This piece is worth 190,000 B." Wang Teng looked at me with pity. "I know Brother Jiang Heng has never seen so much money, let alone clothes of this caliber. Never mind, let me teach you." He handed the clothes to me. "Take it and try it on." I was baffled by his charitable, arrogant tone. I remember saying as soon as I walked in that I didn't need it. Why is he still talking so much? Is his brain made of wood? Wang Teng sensed my thoughts weren't kind, but he asked anyway. "What do you mean?" I curled my lips. "You sure talk a lot." Wang Teng stood up furiously, throwing the suit onto the bed. "Preparing clothes for you was for your own good. I advise you not to be ungrateful." "Thanks, but I don't need charity." I waved my hand lightly, gesturing toward the door. "Please trouble your great self to remove yourself from this room." "Jiang Heng, good for you. I'd like to see what kind of trash you'll wear to the event. When you lose face, don't say the Wang family didn't provide for you." Wang Teng gave a cold laugh and turned to leave. "Wait." As he reached the door, I called out to him, putting the clothes from the bed back into the box and shoving it into his arms. "Take your clothes with you. If you leave them here, I won't even use them to wipe the table." Wang Teng paused. Taking a deep breath, he said, "I didn't realize you've been here so long. I thought you were not good with words. Turns out you have a sharp tongue." I said modestly, "You flatter me, mainly when watching a clown perform acrobatics. It feels inappropriate not to give some reaction." Wang Teng gritted his teeth. "What a sharp mouth." He lowered his voice with malice. "I really hope you can still talk like this in the future. Wait until you are engaged to the Xie family. Wait until you realize you're marrying someone with one foot in the grave. Wait until you realize the true gap between us. Wait until you see me at the engagement party, in my glory, with my fiancé. Wait until you discover that over these past 10 years, exactly how much I have taken from your rightful place. I hope you can still be happy then. You don't need to worry about my future happiness. But as for you," I held the door handle. My eyes swept over him once. In facial physiognomy, the area under the eyes represents emotion. "Beneath your eyes, Wang Teng, there is a hint of pink. a touch of peach blossom luck, indicating you are currently in love, but the corners of your eyes are sharp, creating a slanting shy in the peach blossom. This means the person you are dating is likely not very sincere towards you. Thinking of what Father and Mother Wang mentioned about that well-regarded Xie Ruyan, my mood became subtle. I wish you good luck. Wang Teng felt my gaze was strange, and my words even stranger, but assuming I meant him harm, he huffed and turned to leave. Oh, one more thing. I remembered something. I heard that suit was custom made for you. Just now, when you picked it up, I took a look. I'm afraid it really is only suitable for you. Also, please don't talk so much in front of me in the future. I might mistake you for a mural in Dunhuang instead of a resident of the imperial capital. After speaking, I smiled slightly and closed the door. I honestly couldn't be bothered to deal with Wang Teng, provided Wang Teng didn't provoke me. But if he insisted on rushing over to be humiliated, then I could only waste a little time to dispatch him. Xie Ruyan's condition was improving day by day. When I arrived at the hospital again, she was leaning against the headboard, reading a book. Hearing me arrive, she looked up and smiled at me. I smiled back, responding, "You look pretty good today." Xie Ruyan put down the book. "I have rehab later. My physical condition has improved a lot recently. My upper body has basically recovered. It's just the lower body that still needs care. I can only use a wheelchair for now. I have to follow the treatment plan and do rehab every day. Will it be convenient for the therapist to visit the house later?" "Convenient? I've already arranged everything." Xie Ruyan paused, then said, "Auntie said the preparations at Bitao Garden are complete. We can move in any time. Then let's wait for my grandfather to arrive." I checked my recent schedule, just in time to finish attending Wang Teng's engagement party. Wang Teng. Xie Ruyan felt the name was familiar. In her mind, she searched for a moment. Is that the child from the Wang family who was switched? That's him. His engagement partner is a girl from a branch of your Xi family. I teased, "President Xie, if you don't recover quickly, your outside supporters will all run away. Careful, or when you return to the company, your competitors will have taken over." Xie Ruyan laughed. "Competitors who rely on marriage alliances with small families for support. To compare them with me, isn't that underestimating me a bit?" I squinted at her and asked, "Aren't you angry? This Wang Teng was originally planned by the Wangs to marry you." Xie Ruyan wanted to say, "What does it have to do with Wang Teng? The one with the arranged marriage was clearly me." But those words were a bit. She paused, then said, "Not angry. After all, it has nothing to do with me. If I hadn't fallen ill last year, the engagement would have been dissolved long ago. If you hadn't mentioned his name today, I wouldn't have remembered such a person existed." Shortly after I absorbed enough energy and left, Xie Ruyan came to visit Xie Ruyan as usual. After chatting a bit about the Xi family situation, Xie Ruyan brought up the matter of the two of us. Although young Master Zhang and I are publicly declared fiancé and fiancée, privately, we cannot break the rules. To avoid anyone offending young Master Zhang, he saved my life. Perhaps I should presume to ask if he is willing to recognize me as a sworn sister. Later, when everything is resolved, he will be the rightful young master of our Xie family. Xie Ruyan was stunned. "You mean for the old master to recognize Zhang Heng as a grandson?" Xie Ruyan said, "As long as Zhang Heng agrees, grandfather will definitely consent." Xie Ruyan hesitated for a moment. "All right, I will go back and speak to the old master today. There shouldn't be any problem on his end." Old Master Xie indeed agreed immediately. He called Xie Ruyan that very night, telling her it was a good idea, asking her to ask me. "You ask Zhang Heng. If he is willing, then this is a blessing for our Xi family. We will write him into the genealogy." Xie Ruyan told me this fact. The day before, I had just finished chatting with the Wang family about my engagement to Xie Ruyan. In the intervals of running around for Wang Teng's engagement party, Father and Mother Wang visited Old Master Xie to discuss the arranged marriage between Xie Ruyan and me. They did not know that Xie Ruyan had already awoken, nor did they know I had already met the Xi family, and had reached an agreement with them to maintain the engagement temporarily. Anxiously, they entered the Xie family mansion. After listening to their purpose, Old Master Xie calmly tested the waters. This arranged marriage was set when Old Wang was still alive. Actually, it could be considered a joke. Everyone is clear about my granddaughter's condition. She is lying there unconscious right now. Are you really willing to fulfill the engagement? Father Wang hurriedly said, "A gentleman's word is harder to retract than a team of horses. Since my father made this promise while he was alive, we, as children and juniors, should fulfill it. How could we go back on it?" Old Master Xi's brow twitched. Mr. Wang truly has high integrity. Father Wang didn't hear the hidden meaning, thinking he was truly being praised. His body, tense since entering the room, relaxed a little. "Not at all. Not at all. It is what we should do." Old Master Xie pulled the corner of his mouth. "I heard you have another son under your care, who is holding an engagement banquet with the Deong family's daughter next week." Father Wang replied in fear and trepidation. "Yes," he nervously explained. "It is also quite a coincidence. My younger son grew up with her as childhood sweethearts. It's popular now to get engaged early and marry later. The children wanted to confirm the relationship early. We adults shouldn't interfere too much, so we went along with their wishes. Just now, when discussing the engagement between me and Xie Ruyan. He mentioned nothing of the party's wishes. Now speaking of Wang Teng and Xie Ruyan, he pushed all responsibility onto the young people. Old Master Xie slowly drank a sip of tea, hiding the contempt in his eyes. Then your esteemed house truly has a deep destiny with the Xie family. Mother Wang hadn't spoken for a long time since entering. Seeing Old Master Xie's attitude was decent, she couldn't help but get an idea. She said carefully, I wonder if Elder Xie would have time to grace the banquet with his presence. Old Master Xie looked at her. The Wang family wants to use their son to marry into a Xie branch family. And they still want to invite him to the banquet. Do they really think he's old and senile? He said indifferently, I'm afraid I must disappoint Madame Wang's kindness. Company affairs are busy. I cannot get away. It is not very convenient. No harm, no harm. Mother Wang was rejected, and receiving a warning glare from her husband. She smiled awkwardly and dared not speak again. After coming out of the Xie mansion and getting into the Wang family car, Father Wang said with an ugly expression, Have you lost your mind? We are engaging with the third Miss Xie, only to keep a foot in the door. Little Teng's marriage to Xie Yanran is the key point. If you invite Elder Xie, what will Diong think? Mother Wang was weak in spirit. Anyway, we settled both at the same time. Both sides are matters everyone knows about. Matters everyone knows about cannot be spoken of in the open. Father Wang emphasized his tone. Knowing it in one's heart and visible embarrassment are two different things. All their chips are actually on Xie Diong. Of course, we must prioritize Xie Diong. However, Mother Wang thought of what Old Master Xie had just said. The Xie family said that after Little Teng's engagement party, they would let Zhang Heng move into the Xie home. Why did you agree so readily? Aren't we holding an engagement party for them? With third Miss Shai's condition, how can we hold a banquet? Father Wang frowned. Just let him move over there. It will also make it convenient for us to pry for news about the Xie family. He instructed Mother Wang, I know you care about face. You love grand, vain things. Rest assured, once Dayong and the others establish themselves, we can reap the benefits alongside them. So after I returned home, I happily acquired a fiancé approved by parents on both sides. Father and Mother Wang originally thought that I would be suspicious about moving into the Xie house. Unexpectedly, I asked nothing and agreed directly. At this point, my initial plan had been fully implemented, and now that Xie Ruyan said she wanted to adopt me as a sworn brother, I was momentarily stunned. Right? Why didn't I think of that? The method to deepen the karma between Xie Ruyan and me, besides a marriage contract, could also be kinship. If I had become sworn kin with the Xie family from the start, actually there would have been no need for a marriage contract. Xie Ruyan said, many people know about the engagement between the Xie and Wang families. In the eyes of outsiders, I am still in a comatose state. To cancel the engagement rashly would actually be somewhat strange. How about this? Once my lifespan issue is resolved, we will announce the dissolution of the engagement and formally hold the sworn kinship ceremony. For this period, I must ask you to endure the injustice. I agreed to it. Xie Ruyan's gaze was gentle. Then in private, just treat the Xie family as your family. I've taken advantage of the situation. I not only enjoyed the grace of having my life saved, but also gained a formidable younger brother. I joked, being my sister isn't easy. You have to clear my shopping cart. Help me buy until. Xie Ruyan said, what difficulty is there in that? If you want, I'll have someone buy shares of the companies you like for you. I exclaimed, rich and imposing. Looks like I profited. The two of us looked at each other and smiled. The atmosphere in the hospital room was exceptionally relaxed and joyful. The day before Wang Teng's engagement party, I received a huge pile of things sent by the Xie family. The visitor claimed to be a steward of the Xie clan. When we arrived at the sunroom, I was stunned to see the gift boxes piled high on the sofa. What is all this? The Xie steward stood up with a smile, bowing at the waist to me. Good afternoon, young Master Jiang. The third Miss knows young Master is attending a banquet tomorrow, so she had me send over some of the season's new formal wear from various brands, to prevent anything chosen outside from being uncomfortable to wear. I pointed to the 40 or 50 gift boxes on the sofa. These are all suits, the Xie steward said respectfully. Yes, these are all styles and colors screened by the third Miss. She said you would like them. I raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. Xie Ruyan is pretty impressive. How long have we known each other? And she dares to say he'll definitely like them. Let me take a look. I spent fully over 3 hours unpacking. Before I finished looking through everything Xie Ruyan sent, I kept 3 sets of suits I selected, and the matching jewelry and watches. I called the housekeeper, Uncle Feng, and had him send them to my room. As for the rest, I thought for a moment, send them all to Bitao Garden. If they stay here, they'll just have to be moved later. The Xie steward responded, and immediately called the people waiting in the car to come in and organize. In a few minutes, the sunroom was restored to spotless cleanliness. Since young Master Jiang has made his selection, then my task for today is complete. The Xie steward stood up and checked the time, then bowed and took his leave. The next day, 5:00 p.m., Banshan Hotel, 6th floor banquet hall. Looking around, it was filled with suits and leather shoes, the fragrance of clothes and the blur of shadowed faces. The flowing light on the champagne tower, and the jewelry on the guests coming and going, shone in mutual brilliance, forming the unique sense of luxury of high society. The young masters and ladies of various families were already accustomed to such social occasions. Basically, they just sighed at the exquisiteness of the Banshan Hotel and began chatting in small groups. Originally, everyone was talking about the protagonists of today's engagement party and the alliance between the Wang and Xie families. But as they chatted, mention was made of the bizarre true and fake heir matter of the Wang family recently. Have you heard? The biological son of the Wang family, who was switched, has returned. He's even studying at the same school as Wang Teng. That's old news. Everyone has known for a long time. You sound like your house just got internet. Wang Teng walked past the side of the chatting crowd, his lips hooked up involuntarily. He walked up to a young woman wearing a pink floral strapless evening gown and affectionately took her hand, calling softly, "Ah Yan." Xie Ruyan turned back and pecked his cheek. "Ah, Teng, you look so handsome today." Wang Teng immediately echoed, "Ah Yan is beautiful too," she teased in return. "Still calling me Ah Yan? After the engagement today, Ah Teng will have to change the form of address, right?" Wang Teng changed it with delight. "Wife." While the two were flirting, Mother Wang walked over. She first greeted Xie Ruyan before asking Wang Teng, "Have you seen Jiang Heng? Why hasn't he arrived yet?" Since Xie Ruyan was right there, Wang Teng had a thought. A look of worry and helplessness instantly appeared on his face. "Mom, Brother Jiang Heng despised the suits I gave him, saying they weren't good-looking enough. He said he wanted to prepare his own. I don't know what he will wear today." Mother Wang was both shocked and angry. "The suits you gave him last time were all custom-made, and he despised them. If he doesn't wear those, what will he wear? Where would he get preparations? He also refused the makeup team I asked you to find for him." Wang Teng had never actually mentioned it to me, but at this moment, he nodded without hesitation. Brother Jiang Heng said since his surname isn't Wang, he doesn't care to use the Wang family's things. Mother Wang thought of how I had indeed said that I had no destiny with the Wang surname, and immediately believed Wang Teng's story. Growing up in a small mountain village, he just doesn't cut it. It's one thing to be sensible, but he doesn't know what's good for him. On such an important occasion today, he is throwing away the face of both the Wang and Xie families. Xie Ruyan listened for a while and understood what they were discussing. The person from the Wang family who was switched and just returned. She immediately comforted them both, saying it didn't matter. If his attire is problematic later, just arrange for someone to take him upstairs to rest. It won't affect anything. Mother Wang nodded with an unpleasant expression. "That's all we can do. If I had known, I wouldn't have let him come." She hadn't finished speaking when she was interrupted by the sound of gasps from the front. The three of them were speaking with their backs to the hall entrance and hadn't been paying attention to their surroundings. Only now did they realize the lively banquet hall had suddenly fallen quiet. In the massive venue, surprisingly, not a single person was speaking. Even the piano music had stopped. Everyone seemed to have lost the ability to speak. Can only stare blankly at that person walking in. That was a young man, handsome beyond description. I was wearing a perfectly tailored deep blue suit, paired with a white shirt featuring embroidery at the collar. The black trousers made my upright figure appear even more slender and tall. The leather shoes on my feet tapped against the marble floor, making a crisp, clear sound, seeming to echo in harmony with the low murmurs of the hall. Such handsomeness, wherever I walked, drew ceaseless exclamations of amazement from those around. The Banshan Hotel's world-renowned diamond crystal chandelier seemed to lose its luster in the reflection of my eyes. Wherever I passed, the sound of uncontrollable inhaling immediately arose. There were even young girls who wolfishly covered their noses to stop the flow, yet refused to shift their gazes away from me. In this environment, which was suffocatingly tense, everyone heard me use a voice as cool and steady as spring water hitting jade to ask a nearby server, "I am Jiang Heng. May I ask where my seat is arranged?" That server, who had seen countless grand occasions, was so shaken by my aura she stumbled back a few steps, blushing instantly from her face to her neck. She hurriedly averted her gaze to stare at the floor. Her brain was so chaotic she stammered when speaking. "What? Sorry, could you trouble yourself to say the name again?" I had encountered similar reactions countless times this afternoon, so I was not surprised, and patiently repeated, "Jiang Heng, please check my seating arrangement." The server, dizzy and disoriented, flipped through the documents in her hand, and found those two characters on the first page of the groom's family list. "Okay, please follow me." Although she no longer looked at me, she was still so overwhelmed by my looks and aura that she walked awkwardly, almost forgetting how to move her feet properly. Fortunately, these servers had worked for many years, and were very familiar with the banquet hall's layout. Even if her reason was lost, she could still lead me to the correct location by instinct. Although Wang Teng detested me, we were, after all, family in name, so he still arranged my seat at table 3 in the groom's family section. Whether intentional or not, my seat was quite a distance away from Father and Mother Wang, and the table reserved for the parents of Xie Ruyan. I didn't care about these things and couldn't be bothered to pay attention. Instead, I spotted an acquaintance at my table at a glance. Mi Ping was wearing a black jacket with a standing collar. Her makeup was exquisite, originally sitting there looking cool and charming, but the moment she saw me, she suddenly covered her eyes and turned her head away rapidly. What's wrong? I walked towards her in confusion, leaning down slightly to get closer. Are your eyes bothering you? After I examined her up close, I found Mi Ping's ears and profile were dripping red. I couldn't help but ask in surprise, do you have an allergy? Mi Ping's fingers covering her eyes twitched. She peeked at me secretly through the gaps in her fingers. Her head spun, and she let out a miserable cry that was both painful and blissful. Oh heavens. Zhang Heng, I said with a serious tone, you really seem to be having an allergic reaction. I see even your neck is red. It looks more serious than before. Do you need me to take you to the hospital? No, Mi Ping denied it repeatedly. I'm fine. She explained stammeringly. I'm just a little intoxicated. Secretly adding in her heart, the name of this wine is Zhang Heng. No need to drink. Anyone who sees him today will get intoxicated. I let out an "oh" without suspicion. Then rest a bit. If you really don't feel well, you can call a server. Mi Ping didn't dare to put her hands down at all, nodding frantically with her eyes closed. I turned and returned to my seat. After her sequence of actions, the people in the banquet hall seemed to wake from a dream. The silent hall recovered its sound. People began to converse again, but everyone's expression appeared strange, their gazes frequently and unanimously drifting toward my direction. I took a sip of wine, feeling the taste was average. My brows furrowed slightly. I whispered to a server beside me who had a dreamy look on her face. Please get me a glass of lemon water. Thank you. The server answered stutteringly. Oh, right away? She retreated hastily to prepare the water. Only then did I lift my head and carefully look around at the people at my table. The large round table had a total of 8 seats, but because it wasn't time for the banquet yet, beside me, only 3 people were seated. Mi Ping was covering her eyes, and as for the remaining 2, whoever met my gaze would instantly turn bright red in the face. One lady was particularly exaggerated, actually knocking over a wine glass in her panic. I was rarely this bewildered. Starting from halfway through my styling this afternoon, the people around me seemed a bit off. First, the stylist arranging my cuffs muttered to himself, Mr. Zhang, you really shouldn't go out. Then from getting out of the car to sitting in this seat, everyone I met along the way had strange expressions and shifting eyes. I thought to myself, is there a problem? There shouldn't be. That is Zhang Heng, the brother Ah Teng just brought back. Xie Ruyan stared blankly in my direction, hesitantly asking Father Wang and Wang Teng. Wasn't he supposed to be a rude, savage, ignorant villager? How is he like this? Mother Wang still hadn't quite reacted, answering in a daze. Yes, Xie Ruyan spoke no more. After her shock passed, she gradually sobered up. Instead, complex emotions slowly rose in her eyes. Wang Teng didn't notice his fiancée's anomaly. His gaze fell upon me, unable to pull away. Unconsciously, his teeth had bitten through his lower lip. If anyone looked closely, they would discover he was even trembling slightly. Zhang Heng. How could he? Shouldn't he be wearing those clothes with disastrous aesthetics? Shouldn't he be without matching accessories? Shouldn't he be looking dejected while watching my glorious engagement? Why did it turn out like this? Why, as soon as he returned to the Wang family, did he make him look inferior in every way by comparison? Why, the moment he appeared at the banquet, did he make the protagonist me reduced to a mere foil? Infinite panic bred deep within Wang Teng's heart. Having been the young master of the Wang family for 19 years, he was long accustomed to the noble life. He didn't want to be outshined, especially not by a young man who grew up in a mountain village. He had completely forgotten that he was the dove occupying the magpie's nest, that the 19 years of life he enjoyed actually belonged to me. He just clenched his teeth and finally made a decision. Those socialites who had discussed me earlier were even more stunned. They looked at each other, wanting to crack some jokes with one another. To cover up the situation just now, their throats moved, but they found they couldn't say a word. Those who could attend this banquet today had all seen the world, big and small, and had seen all kinds of handsome men, top stars in the entertainment industry, peerless beauties hidden among the populace, rarely seen family members of high-ranking households. Everyone's aesthetic standards were different. Their criteria for a great handsome man were also different. Logically, it's hard to have a unanimous consensus on who is the most handsome. But after seeing me with their own eyes tonight, they suddenly realized, turns out there really is someone so good-looking they can unify aesthetics. A heiress who previously said she was afraid of being clung to gazed at me infatuatedly, unsure if she was talking to herself or asking for opinions. Can I ask for his contact information? The best friend beside her had complex emotions and shut her down without thinking. What do you want his contact for? Didn't you say this kind of person loves to dream, and you have to avoid them carefully? That heiress was left speechless, defending herself pallidly and weakly. I meant most people before. I didn't mean him. I just want to treat him to a meal. She was still a bit dizzy, but knew clearly in her heart, among these people in the banquet hall now, how many didn't want to treat him to a meal? Sure enough, no one refuted her. With a bright moon and precious jewel before them, who wouldn't want to get a little closer? I thought about it for a long time, about what was inappropriate about me, but still couldn't figure it out. So I used my phone to send a message to Mi Ping. Do you feel the people in the banquet hall are a bit strange? After I went to the Mi family to read their feng shui last time, we exchanged contact information. During this period, Mi Ping would occasionally send me funny videos and chat. When I was at school, she even brought me milk tea and fried chicken and shared snacks. Our current relationship was quite good, probably counting as ordinary friends. Mi Ping had just adjusted her emotions, and the heat on her face had gone down. When she saw my message, she froze, thinking, no way, in this day and age, is there really someone unaware of his own handsomeness? She tentatively replied, has no one ever praised you for being very good looking? I saw she didn't answer my question, but asked this instead. I glanced at her and lowered my head to type. Your question is so weird. Mi Ping's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that, because I grew up in the mountains, really no one ever told me exactly how handsome I am? Then she saw me follow up with, quite a few people praise me for looking good. What's there to ask about that? In modern society, unless a handsome guy is isolated from the world and sees no outsiders, otherwise, he must be praised from childhood to adulthood. How could he not know he's handsome? Mi Ping felt this made perfect sense. But here's the problem. Why do I seem unable to realize what kind of sensation I've caused? She felt she couldn't clarify this in a few messages, and because she was sitting at my table, being watched by countless gazes felt like thorns in her back. So she simply turned off her phone and called me to go to the restroom. As soon as Mi Ping and I left the table, many people at the banquet immediately became restless. A few bold ones followed. I walked outside the restroom, but didn't go in. I tipped my chin at Mi Ping, signaling her to look at those little tails outside. I've encountered nothing but strange people today. I cast a divination, but didn't find any issues. I can't understand it. Mi Ping did mental preparation for a long time. Being this close to me, she still had some trouble breathing. She didn't dare look at my face. Her gaze landed on the sharp jawline at my neck. Have you ever considered? It might be because you are too handsome. I said strangely, I know I look good, but what does that have to do with these people? Mi Ping was stunned, subconsciously wanting to look up at me, but lifting halfway, she quickly retracted her gaze. It's precisely because you look good that it's like this? I was completely baffled. I don't seem to understand the causality here. By that logic, you are good looking too. There are many good looking people here today too. Mi Ping widened her eyes. How can that be the same? I asked back, what's different? The air was static for a moment. Mi Ping suddenly realized. Wait, I said, as a matter of course. There isn't much difference originally. Aren't all good-looking people about the same? I was immune to all beauty, because I felt all beauty was about the same. Even I myself was about the same. Mi Ping gasped, mouth wide open. For a moment, she didn't know if she should feel honored or feel it was absurd. After a long while, she said weakly, this must count as a scam of astronomical proportions. Too ridiculous. Zhang Heng actually thinks his handsomeness is only about the same as us ordinary people. If you say this out loud, people will think you are Versailles in humble bragging. Mi Ping said painfully, I beg you, look in the mirror. Is the Wang family so poor they don't have a mirror for you, that you would have this illusion? She pointed to the huge square mirror above the sink. Different. We are really different. Good looks are also graded. If we are a 1, then you are a 15. I laughed. Is the full score 20? Or 10? Mi Ping said helplessly. You are an off-the-charts contestant. I didn't think it was that exaggerated. Mi Ping made it sound like I was the reincarnation of some deity. While the two of us were talking, a tall woman in an evening gown walked out of the restroom. She froze upon seeing me. Her eyes obviously lit up. Mi Ping and I stood near the sink talking in low voices. She walked gracefully past us. After washing her hands, while taking out hand cream from her bag to apply, she sized me up in the mirror. Her features were exquisite, but held a trace of wild beauty. To use current internet slang, she was very alpha. But her eyes were contrary to her appearance, both gentle and sticky, like a dense net trying to entangle a person inside. I quickly sensed her scrutiny and turned my head to look at her in confusion. Seeing me look over the beauty in the gown, not only didn't dodge, but playfully winked her left eye and blew me a kiss. I looked at her, seemingly bewildered. Seeing this, the beauty in the gown chuckled low. Leaning against the sink, she praised. You are truly handsome. I didn't understand why this stranger suddenly started praising me. But out of politeness, I should still say, thank you. Mi Ping reacted, pupils shaking, just as she wanted to speak up to stop it. She heard the beauty in the gown ask again. Perhaps fate would allow us to have breakfast together tomorrow. Mi Ping turned her face away painfully. Inviting someone for breakfast? I'm not understanding it in that way, am I? Afraid I might misunderstand. I had to tactfully refuse. No, I am more used to eating breakfast at home. The beauty in the gown laughed, putting away the hand cream, bringing a burst of rich fragrance as she approached me. I was already 1.88 meters tall, considered quite tall among men, but this woman was only half a head shorter than me. When she got close, there was a faint sense of aggression. Going to your house is fine too. I don't mind. In my past and present lives, I never lacked admirers. Whether open crushes or secret ones, combined, they could circle the earth. It wasn't that there weren't bold ones. When I was cultivating back then, there was a suitor who heard I liked jade and blocked my door with cartloads of top-quality emeralds to confess her love. But a woman as hot and direct as the one before me was the first I had encountered. Beside me, Mi Ping hurriedly said, "Beauty. You might have misunderstood. He isn't. He likes men." The beauty in the gown seemed to just notice Mi Ping. She glanced at her and said airily, "I like men too. What does that matter?" Mi Ping went, "Huh? Asked this by the other party." She almost questioned herself. Does that really not matter? The beauty in the gown smiled at me again. "Baby, don't limit your gender so strictly. Men have men's benefits. Sisters have sisters' wonders too." Fortunately, there was no one else in the washroom area. We three spoke here for a long time and saw no one else enter or exit. Otherwise, if the shocking words of the beauty in the gown were heard, others would think the three of us had some chaotic relationship. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but whether man or woman, I temporarily have no such thoughts. All right? The beauty in the gown shrugged, although her expression was somewhat regretful. She didn't pester. She took out a business card from her bag and handed it to me. "Then he'll take a number and get in line first. If you consider it in the future, you can consider me first." I took the business card and took a look. The beauty's name was Shen Youwei. Shen Youwei gave a private card without excess information, just a name and a phone number. But I also knew someone who could enter such a high-end hotel was naturally either rich or noble, as long as one cared to ask. I would know just by asking around outside later. After putting away the card, I smiled slightly at her. "Okay." Shen Youwei tidied her loose hair and left with a catwalk strut. Mi Ping whispered with a sigh, "When she was talking to you just now, I thought of a meme." "What meme?" I asked curiously. Mi Ping pulled out her phone to show me. "Just this one, saying hello directly. Greeting. Hi wife. Is it alike?" I saw that stick figure funny meme and associating it with Shen Youwei's flirting just now. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Interrupted by Shen Youwei like this, the two of us stopped discussing the topic about whether I was handsome or not. The banquet had already started by now. We had to go back and show our faces, but we too forgot the little tails that followed us out. One of them was hovering sneakily at the corner of the corridor. As soon as I exited the washroom area, she rushed out ahead of everyone, blocking my way stiffly. Around us, sounds of sighing immediately arose. I looked at this beautiful young girl before me, my gaze pausing briefly on her forehead. "Who are you?" "I am called Leng Qingqiu. Our family is Leng Industries." Leng Qingqiu didn't dare look directly at me either, face exploding with red, stammering as she reported her family background. After speaking, she realized belatedly that introducing herself so directly wasn't very distinctive. With a thought, she suddenly remembered a boy who chased her once said. Her name came from a poem, very elegant and beautiful. She had looked it up specifically back then, and still remembered that line. She hurriedly added, "It's the Leng Qingqiu from Empty Mountains After Fresh Rain. Weather comes late to autumn." Note, Qingqiu implies clear, cool autumn. She felt this made her appear cultured, different from ordinary rich heiresses. But unexpectedly, I suddenly sighed. Leng Qingqiu was panic-stricken. "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" I was silent for a moment, then said, "My condolences." Beside me, Mi Ping couldn't help but retort. How did hitting on someone lead to my condolences? Is this some new tactic to reject admirers? I turned to ask Mi Ping, "Do you have something to write with?" Mi Ping shook her head subconsciously. "No? Will lipstick do?" "It works." I took Mi Ping's designer lipstick, pulled a handkerchief from Leng Qingqiu, wrote a string of numbers, and handed the handkerchief back to Leng Qingqiu. "If you need it later, you can contact me." Before Leng Qingqiu could feel ecstatic about receiving my contact information, she saw me looking at her with a pitiable expression. "If you have time right now, you can call your mother, although it might be too late." Leng Qingqiu was stunned. She subconsciously checked the current time. It was 1846. At this hour, her parents should be eating at home. Why call her? Also, what did I mean by what I just said? Why did it sound so ominous? "Zhengheng, what you just said." Mi Ping knew my abilities and came to her senses at this moment, a bit unbelieving. "Could it be?" I nodded. "It's just as you think." Mi Ping was shocked. "How can that be? Did something just happen to her mother?" On both sides of the forehead, left and right of the eyes, are the sun and moon horns. The horns govern the parents. I explained to her in a low voice. As soon as I saw her, I found her sun horn slightly collapsed, brows carrying a cone shape, forehead energy dark and gloomy. These all foretell her parents are currently in crisis, and it is very likely the mother. Mi Ping understood some of the logic, but was still unsure. I continued. Originally, I couldn't be completely sure either. The two of us had walked back to the banquet hall. I stopped talking and switched seats with someone next to Mi Ping. But after she said that one sentence, I could be certain. What did she say? Didn't she only make a self-introduction? It was precisely that introduction. I repeated Leng Qingchu's words. She said her name is a line of poetry. That line is, empty mountains after fresh rain. Weather comes late to autumn. I explained. This poem comes from Wang Wei's Autumn Evening in the Mountains. Mi Ping was a little embarrassed, thinking she seemed to have no impression of this famous ancient line. I continued, in metaphysics, there is a divination method called external signs, also called plum blossom divination. The origin of the name has a story. Legend has it that during the Northern Song dynasty, a gentleman named Shao Kangji was admiring flowers in his plum garden when he saw two sparrows pecking at each other and falling. He predicted that the next day there would surely be a neighbor girl climbing the tree to pick flowers and falling from the tree to get injured. Then the prediction came true. People believe everything has a pattern. Heaven, earth, sun, moon, cold and heat alternate, are all destined fates and variables in the unseen world. Seemingly unrelated things might actually be omens. External signs are based on the specific time and place. Everything happening around you, every movement produced to cast a divination. I originally couldn't be certain about Leng Qingchu's mother, whether something really happened to her, but she happened to recite a poem at that exact time. This is the external sign. As Mi Ping listened, her mouth unconsciously fell open, feeling both shocked and finding it truly too mysterious. After I finished speaking, I was thirsty, so I poured a glass of water and drank it all. Just then, Mi Ping asked me, I heard my brother say he's negotiating a deal recently. The final result isn't certain yet. Can you see when he will get the news? When I put down the water glass, I accidentally bumped the chopsticks on the plate. I glanced at the chopsticks and said, at this moment, the chopsticks fell onto the table. This is the external sign. Chopsticks Kwai represent the trigram Sun. Shun represents news. The chopsticks are pointing towards home. 2 days from now is a home day. I guess your brother will get the news in 2 days. Okay. Mi Ping took out her phone, typing furiously. It'll tell my brother right now. She sent a message to Mi Yan. Brother, don't worry. That contract of yours will have a result in 2 days. After sending it, she felt that her tone today and attitude were both very gentle and considerate, thinking to herself, not bad. Mi Yan will surely be flattered and surprised. After waiting for a long time, the phone vibrated once. She couldn't wait to click it open, only to see Mi Yan replied with one sentence. Say it. How much do you want this time? Mi Ping sighed helplessly. Men are all pigs. Throughout the engagement banquet, what was said and what was done, Mi Ping and I were completely oblivious. Ever since Mi Ping received Mi Yan's message, she grabbed onto me and started complaining. I find many girls wish they had an older brother, thinking a brother can protect them and stuff. Let me tell you, it's all a dream. When I was in 2nd grade, my brother was already in 6th grade. He was losing his baby teeth then. My parents restricted him from eating sweets, not allowing him to eat candy, so he would secretly steal my chocolates to eat. You know those chocolates wrapped in foil, placed in a jar? My brother, he was especially wicked. After eating them, he was afraid I'd find out. So every day he'd dig a small scoop of mashed sweet potato from the kitchen, wrap it in the chocolate foil, and give it to me to eat. He even lied to me, saying it was a new flavor. I asked curiously, then how did you find out? Mi Ping said indignantly, one time he dug too hurriedly and dug up a big piece of sweet potato skin for me. No matter how silly I was, I knew chocolate couldn't have skin. I burst out laughing. The siblings I had seen in my past life were all polite, with clear boundaries. None were like Mi Ping and Mi Yan's bickering mode. But I could tell, although the siblings complained about each other, their relationship was obviously very good. I was amused by Mi Ping, but didn't know how lethal my smile was. Like the bright moon rising from the sea, illuminating the shimmering waves, or like the spring breeze brushing past branches, instantly causing flowers to bloom like brocade. Facing my smile, Mi Ping had her voice stuck in her throat suddenly, instantly forgetting what she was going to say next. The whole table couldn't hear what they were saying, but the people whose gazes had been circling around me all froze in unison. Those peeking from nearby were simply entranced. What are you doing? Xie Ruyan, holding a wine glass, stood before the table, looking around with a smile. Why is it so quiet over here? She spoke to everyone, but her pair of lustrous peach blossom eyes stared fixedly at me. I met her gaze, feeling curious in my heart. The Xie family's eyes were surprisingly all so good-looking, though I didn't know if it was the influence of maternal genetics. Xie Ruyan's eyes were typical phoenix eyes, the double eyelids like a half-opened fan. Even when not smiling, the tails of the eyes tilted upward, combined with a high nose and thin lips. Her temperament was very cold and noble, belonging to the kind of person who looked like a big shot at first glance. While Xie Ruyan had a pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes, eyelids pale pink, the curvature of the eyes seductive. Looking at anyone seemed full of affection. When I read Wang Teng's face before, I guessed his lover was fickle. Scrutinizing Xie Ruyan now, I found she indeed had the capital to be a fickle lover. She was so young and beautiful, rich and powerful, and looking at you with affection. Such a wealthy heiress, how many people could dislike her? No wonder every time Wang Teng mentioned her, He was both shy and proud. Someone at the table saw Xie Yanran come over and quickly stood up to exchange pleasantries. We haven't congratulated Miss Xie on the good match yet. A perfect pair of mandarin ducks. When someone stood up, Xie Yanran took a step to the side to yield. With this step, she was even closer to me, separated by only one person. She took the opportunity to walk to my side, raising her glass with a smile. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend the banquet today. The ball is about to begin. I'll toast everyone first. Everyone chimed in agreement. I also held my glass of lemon water as a gesture. After Xie Yanran finished the wine in her glass, she handed the glass to a server nearby. Her arm seemed to tilt inadvertently. The tray in the server's hand was bumped by her and immediately tilted. Half a glass of red wine poured with a splash onto the young girl beside me. I turned sideways to dodge the splashing liquid. The server hurriedly apologized to the girl. Xie Yanran reacted incredibly fast, arranging, hurry, and take the honored guest upstairs to change clothes. The girl looked at me, who was close at hand, and unwillingly left the seat next to the handsome guy, while Xie Yanran sat down smoothly, smiling gently at me. We haven't met before, so you are Wang Teng's older brother. Then should I also call you brother? The word brother was spoken by her with immense lingering tenderness. Like a whisper between lovers, my gaze didn't move an inch. I said indifferently, neither kin nor friend. I don't count as any brother. Xie Yanran wasn't embarrassed in the slightest. Laughing, she said, how can that be? Since you've returned to the Wang family, we are family. By the way, Zhang Heng, I can call you that, right? I said, the name is right there. Call me whatever you want. Xie Yanran's eyes rippled, hooking onto me like hooks. The name Zhang Heng is truly well chosen. It has the perseverance of Heng constancy and embodies brother's capability. Almost every sentence she spoke tested the boundaries back and forth. I said lukewarmly, nothing is more romantic and fickle than Miss Xie. Xie Yanran smiled, taking it as a compliment. The engagement procedure ended. The ball was about to begin. It was precisely banquet time. Surroundings were noisy and lively, and the space between seats was quite wide. Relying on the fact that outsiders couldn't hear, Xie Yanran was truly bold. Clearly seeing I had no intention of engaging with her, she still dared to approach me. I heard, Brother Zhang Heng also has an arranged marriage with our Xie family. Is Brother Zhang Heng willing to marry someone who is nearly 30? She asked. I finally raised my eyes to look at her. Whether I'm willing or not, what does it have to do with you? Xie Yanran curled her lips, smiling beautifully. I see Brother Zhang Heng is so handsome. And young? I'm afraid you haven't tasted the flavor of love yet, have you? How could I bear to see you marry a dying person? Why not consider me? I didn't get angry. Tapping the glass in my hand, I asked indifferently, then what about Wang Teng? Xie Yanran said carelessly, if you don't mind, let him be the official husband. If you do mind, just settle him somewhere casually. I let out an "oh," turning over the phone that was face down on the table. I turned off the recording and said politely, thank you for contributing a rather unpleasant voice clip. I will remember to send it to the Wang family. Xie Yanran froze, not knowing since when I had been recording, but handsome guys always have the right to be naive. Xie Yanran said airily, you don't possibly think our two families are uniting truly because of the feelings between Wang Teng and me, do you? Believe it or not, even if I openly flirt with you in front of the Wang family, Zhang Heng, the ball is about to start, accompany me to touch up my makeup. Having heard for a long time that Xie Yanran was fickle, seeing her constantly approaching me to talk right now made me feel uncomfortable. The Wang family was chaotic enough as it was. The identities of Wang Teng and me had already caused much discussion outside. If I got involved in any relationship with Wang Teng's fiancée, who knows what nonsense people would spout. I paused and said, okay. Then, without looking at Xie Yanran again, I directly picked up my phone and followed Mi Ping upstairs. While Xie Yanran sat in her original seat, watching me get up, she lowered her eyes, her expression ambiguous. Mi Ping pulled me away. While fixing her stray hairs, she educated me about the rumors surrounding Xie Yanran. Zhang Heng, you weren't in the imperial capital before. You don't know that this group of heiresses plays very wild. Have you heard of Zhonglingchen? Zhonglingchen is a famous high-end clubhouse in the imperial capital. I heard it has immense financial power and a mysterious background. Last time I heard someone say, Xie Yanran and her close circle of wealthy heiresses have a private room at Zhonglingchen. They find those fresh meat internet celebrities to, Then they make the sick fresh meat kneel there and beat them. Whoever guesses correctly which one falls first is the winner. I frowned. How do you know? I was ignorant back then, wanting to go everywhere. Mi Ping said, looking a little embarrassed. Once I went to Zhonglingchen and accidentally walked into the wrong room. I saw a group of boys kneeling on the floor wearing nothing. Hearing the door open, they didn't even lift their heads but shouted, Master. It scared me silly. Later, I ran home and told my brother. My brother scolded me severely. To scare me, he even told me a lot about the shady business inside, saying there are special rooms full of whips and toys. People often play too hard and cause accidents in there. Hearing this left a bad taste in my mouth. I asked, are those boys willing? Mi Ping wrinkled her nose. They say it's consensual, because they pay enough. I fell silent, only to hear Mi Ping say again, "Later when the ball starts, there will surely be many people inviting you for the first dance. You are not allowed to say yes to anyone else. You must save it for me." I smiled slightly. "Okay, dancing only with you today is fine too." However, although the two of us agreed well, plans could not keep up with changes. The ball that day, I ultimately couldn't attend. The ball started at 8:30. At 7:40, I received a message from Xie Ruyan. Xie Ruyan asked if I could come to Bitao Garden, saying the Xie family members were all there. Xie Ruyan rarely took the initiative to ask me to do anything. Making a request so suddenly, I subconsciously thought it must be relatively important. I said goodbye to Mi Ping and hurriedly left the banquet hall. While walking out, I heard guests discussing. Didn't they say Song Junliang, the boss of Chenshan Hotel, would attend today? Why haven't we seen him? They said he's not coming again, saying there's some important matter. Is there an important matter, or is he simply not giving face? But no one dares to ask. Ha! Didn't you see neither the Xie nor the Wang family said anything? Hey, speaking of Song Junliang, have you heard the gossip from a while back? About Song Junliang, mention of the boss of Chenshan Group. Reminded me, oh right, Father Wang had said before that the Xie family invited Song Junliang to attend this engagement banquet. But Song Junliang was sent by me to pick up grandfather. He should still be on the road to the capital right now, sightseeing. He definitely couldn't make it. During the phone call this morning, Zhang Hongren even said he liked the scenery along the way and wanted to take a closer look. I wonder if they have arrived at the hotel to rest by now. While I was thinking of others, someone was thinking of me. Are we here? The rear car window rolled down, revealing a round face with kind brows and pleasant eyes. Song Junliang stepped out from the driver's seat, handed the car keys to the valet who approached, and ran to the back seat himself to open the door. Elder Zhang, we've arrived at the hotel. We'll stay here for tonight and tomorrow night. The old man in the back seat was my grandfather, Zhang Hongren. Under Song Junliang's attentive service, he stepped onto the red carpet laid on the hotel steps, looking at the shopping mall opposite the hotel, the video playing on the giant advertising screen, and the rows of skyscrapers. He sighed with emotion. It's truly lively. Yes, it is. Song Junliang laughed. The past 2 days, we passed through small cities. Arriving in Linan City today counts as finally arriving in a big city. Let me think. Zhang Hongren held the handrail walking into the hotel. All these years, that brat in the family has been running around, organizing this and that. How many years has it been since I came to such a lively place? 5 years? 8 years? It doesn't matter. Take a good look this time. If you are willing, we can stay as long as you like. Song Junliang walked closely behind Zhang Hongren, half a step back. I travel for business often, so I'm quite familiar with this area. Elder Zhang must give me a chance to show you my filial respect. You sure have a way with words. Song Junliang had arranged everything properly and thoughtfully along the way. Zhang Hongren praised him quite a bit. Song Junliang beamed with joy, only to hear Zhang Hongren say again, "You young people whom that brat knew early on are all quite reliable. I remember that lad named Xueling is also not bad." The joy that just rose in Song Junliang faded. He barely remembered this was in front of Boss Zhang's grandfather, and didn't let his face fall. That bastard Xueling actually got Elder Zhang to remember his name. After Zhang Hongren mentioned him once, it seemed like he remembered him. Is he also in the imperial capital with you all? Song Junliang secretly undermined his rival. Oh my, Xueling is a young man. He has no patience to stay with an uncle like me. He is in Bindu. Zhang Hongren nodded. Bindu is also a good place. Song Junliang instantly became alert again. No way. The old master wouldn't prefer Bindu over the imperial capital, would he? If the old master liked it, and Boss Zhang waved his hand saying, "Go to Bindu," where would he go to cry then? Song Junliang calmly steered the topic back. Elder Zhang, the imperial capital has changed a lot in the last 2 years. You will definitely like it when you see it. Make way, make way. A crowd surged out from the side, surrounding an old man sitting in a wheelchair. Moving towards the elevator in the VIP area, 5 or 6 men in suits cleared the way in front. Passers-by dodged one after another, making space for them. Looking at that posture, it seemed like a very important figure. Song Junliang protected Zhang Hongren and retreated 2 steps, but Zhang Hongren let out a strange eh? Song Junliang thought someone bumped him, and hurriedly asked, "Elder Zhang, what's wrong?" Zhang Hongren looked towards the old man in the wheelchair. I see that old gentleman seems to be a man of metaphysics. Hearing metaphysics, Song Junliang subconsciously touched his chest. Feeling the amulet I gave him, he let out a breath. He asked, "Should I ask around for you? See what his background is?" Zhang Hongren shook his head. "Forget it. No need for trouble. I haven't walked about outside these years. Not many people know me anymore." Song Junliang laughed. How could that be? Elder Zhang's reputation was illustrious back then. Anyone with some experience would know you. The two chatted and laughed as they went to the front desk to check in. While on the other side, the wheelchair was pushed into the elevator. Just as the elevator doors were about to close, the old man, resting with closed eyes, suddenly opened them. When his eyes were not open, his hair was white, his face haggard and aged, looking like he was 60 or 70 years old. However, the moment he opened his eyes, his whole demeanor changed drastically. Saying he instantly became 20 years younger wouldn't be an exaggeration. His gaze was like lightning. Through the unclosed gap of the elevator doors, he scanned the hotel lobby. The disciple holding the wheelchair asked upon seeing this, "Master, is there a problem somewhere?" The old man frowned. "Just now I seemed to sense a trace of aura, identical to the person who broke my curse a while ago. But not quite the same." He pondered for a moment. "Go check the people checking in these 2 days. See where they come from." "Yes, master." "Has news come from the imperial capital? Has Xie Ruyan found out who broke the curse?" Replying to master. "No clues yet." The old man closed his eyes and huffed. His voice was cold and stern. "All useless trash?" The people in the elevator lowered their heads together, silent as cicadas in winter. Previously, Xie Ruyan had told me that preparations at Bitao Garden were complete, and we could move in any time, but I had never come over to see it. Today was my first time coming to this residential area. Before the car even entered, I had already praised it first. Jade belt encircling the waist. Good layout. As the saying goes, mountains govern people, water governs wealth. Human residences emphasize relying on mountains and being near water. Sitting on rock, facing emptiness. Here, rock refers to reliance, whether it be mountain peaks or architectural complexes. As long as they are suitable for a house to lean against, they can all count as sitting on rock while facing emptiness. As the name suggests, it means the front of the residence should be as open and bright as possible, leaving enough space. Otherwise, how can it generate and attract wealth? Behind Bitao Garden are green mountains and trees. Opposite the community is a scenic park, which is already a good layout in itself. Unexpectedly, there is also a river in front. Embracing it in a crescent shape, the river water is calm as a lake, surrounding it with affection, just like the belt worn by ancient high officials. It is precisely a jade belt encircling the waist layout for accumulating wealth and status. When I arrived at the courtyard, the Xie family arranged for me. I looked around and laughed. 9 bens entering the bright hall, producing a prime minister for the current dynasty. This place stores wind and gathers energy. Someone must have specifically looked it over. The Xie family servant who came to pick me up had seen me many times before, but today, intimidated by my temperament, he didn't dare look at me much. Hearing me speak at this moment, he said softly and cautiously, "Before this community was developed, I heard they hired a master." I nodded in agreement. The master is not bad. The Xie family is also impressive themselves. Qianshan Group also has a real estate division. When we first got involved, I enthusiastically picked a few nice plots of land. But when it came to the bidding, I found the land I picked didn't necessarily belong to me. There are many twists and turns behind this. The Xie family can get good locations, making it easy to implement feng shui layouts. Unlike me, there were 2 times when I wanted to modify the ominous lands in my hands. I really racked my brains, almost worrying my hair white. The servant led me onto the stone path, and then quietly retreated. I walked to the door alone, but felt a little strange. "Why is the house dark?" Xie Ruyan asked me to come over. Did she not come over herself? I pushed the door, and found it wasn't locked. It was left ajar, opening with a single push. Did they go out? Without even locking the door. Just as I wanted to raise my voice to call the person from before to ask, I heard a click from the living room behind me, followed by the sound of several people's footsteps. I turned back in astonishment, only to see Niyu and Xie Huili pushing out a very tall food cart, while old Master Xie pushed Xie Ruyan in her wheelchair to the center of the living room. Niyu laughed loudly. "Brother Heng, happy birthday," Xie Huili said softly. "Zhang Heng, happy birthday. May you have this day every year, and this present moment always." Old Master Xi said cheerfully. "Little Master Zhang Heng, make do this year. This time next year, you'll have to call me Grandpa. At that time, we must hold a grand celebration at the Xie family." He was referring to the matter of me becoming sworn siblings with Xie Ruyan after I agreed. I stood where I was, looking at the birthday cake on the cart, which had fully 6 layers. My gaze landed on the very top, on that golden standee that read, "Happy Birthday, Zhang Heng." I paused, then looked at the colorful ribbons hanging all around the living room. After looking around, I stared blankly, slowly looking at the other people beside the cake. They all looked at me expectantly, smiles hanging on their faces. At this moment, my eyes, which had always been calm and undisturbed, seemed like waves suddenly rising on a wind-blown water surface. At this time, the moon had not yet fully risen. Inside the room, only the candles on the cake flickered with orange light, illuminating the room with warmth. My eyes also seemed to have flowing light. I said slowly and with cherish, "Thank you all. I like it very much." I didn't remember how long it had been since I celebrated a birthday. Maybe the 19 years of this life. Maybe adding the few years of the previous life. In my previous life, my status was noble. When I was young, the family elders managed a few birthday banquets for me, doing social business in the name of a birthday. Saying it was to celebrate my birth? Actually, it was just a large social gathering. Later, I took charge of the family power. My cultivation was profound, impatient to deal with these things anymore. I ordered the cancellation of birthday banquets, And after coming to this world, Old Man Jiang and I lived in the southwestern mountains. Mountain people don't care about these things. Old Man Jiang didn't pay attention to these either. He couldn't be bothered to celebrate even his own birthday, let alone thinking a little boy's birthday was anything particularly important. When I was small, Old Man Jiang would cook me a bowl of longevity noodles. After I grew up, by a strange combination of circumstances, I acquired many businesses and possessed many identities, running around outside often. Sometimes when the birthday arrived, even I couldn't remember that today was indeed my birthday. I even received a call from Old Man Jiang this morning. Zhang Hongren instructed, as in previous years, just be happy, buy whatever you want to eat yourself. I thought lazily at the time, it's just a birthday. What's there to be happy about? I didn't care, nor did anyone else care. Today was Wang Teng and Xie Ruyan's engagement banquet. The Wang family members were all busy enough when they were preparing the engagement banquet for Wang Teng, although the Wang family said they would hold Wang Teng's birthday party together with it. But at the scene, they obviously ignored the birthday part. Even Wang Teng, a child who had lived in the Wang family for over 10 years. They had no time to attend to, so how would they ask about me? Everyone forgot that there were 2 children in the Wang family who were actually born on this day, but I didn't expect. Someone remembered and prepared a surprise so sincerely and so attentively. The lights in the room had been turned on. The flowing light crossing my eyes seemed like an illusion. I was still smiling as usual, but seemed somewhat softer. Where did you find out my birthday? What a huge surprise. Ever since Niyu saw clearly what I looked like tonight, he didn't dare make a sound. His initial boldness flew to the 9th cloud layer. Instead, Xie Huili and Old Master Xie froze for a moment. Reacting quickly, Xie Huili first sincerely praised me from head to toe, then said it was Ruyan who reminded us. She heard that today was the other Wang boy's birthday, and said then it should be your birthday too. I turned back to look at Xie Ruyan, curving my eyes, my expression gentle. Thank you for troubling you. Xie Ruyan was still in rehabilitation, needing a wheelchair to go out, although she sat lower than everyone else. Her overall temperament seemed to occupy a high position. She was always cold and sharp to outsiders, but had been very gentle to me from the start. If not for the fact that news of my awakening cannot be leaked, I should have held a grand banquet for you. This year, because of me, you have really been wronged. I'll make it up to you next year. She handed me the gift box in her lap, offering congratulations with a smile. Zhang Heng, I wish you a happy birthday. May every year hereafter be happier than the last. My eyes trembled. Every year hereafter. Can I, a soul from another world, a short-lived ghost limited by the heavenly Tao, also have a future? You haven't even opened it. Do you know you dislike it? Xie Ruyan passed the gift forward again, her tone relaxed. Or are you saying you don't want to celebrate with us in the future? I was silent for a few seconds, took the gift, and said seriously, no matter what it is, I like it. The Xie family members took out their hidden gift boxes, one after another, stuffing them all into my hands. Zhang Heng, hearing you say that, we are relieved. Xie Huili smiled and pushed the cake to the dining table. Usually I only buy clothes for this brat Niyu. I haven't really picked gifts much. I was afraid you wouldn't like it. Come. Blow out the candles first, then turn on the lights. I looked at the 6-layer cake, estimated to be a meter high, and the 19 candles placed dispersedly, with a hesitant expression. There seemed to be a few too many candles. Everyone took a closer look. Xie Huili said quietly, blame Niyu? He said it looks better with candles on every layer, insisting the pastry chef make it like this. I smiled and said, it doesn't matter. Why don't we blow them together? I thought for a moment and added, with so many candles, it's a waste for me to make a wish alone. It's perfect for everyone to make a wish together. Consider us leeching a wish off Zhang Heng. Xie Huili called everyone to stand in position. Come, close your eyes and make a wish together. I closed my eyes together with everyone. The moon was rising from the east, spilling in through the window, reflecting the candlelight in the room, illuminating the faces surrounding me. My figure, which had not rested for a long time, finally paused for a moment at this instant. The door to my heart, tightly closed for 2 lifetimes, also quietly revealed a small crack at this moment. I silently made a wish in the bottom of my heart. After the group blew out the candles, Xie Huili asked someone to turn on the lights and arranged for the dishes to be served. Only then did I ask belatedly, have you all